out on 93, listening on 93.3, Real Talk. Or if you're watching on YouTube with Warchant TV, either way, really appreciate it. Or if you're listening to the podcast down the line, however it is you're consuming the show, taking in the product, it's much appreciated. I promise you. How are you, Tommy? Feeling okay today, buddy?
A little bit better, a little bit more on the mend.
That's good.
Those Yankees, those ridiculous Northerners that invaded Orlando with all their germs, you know. It's all right. It's all right. Happy about the win last night. 16 out of 18, 102 out of 104, whatever it is over Miami basketball Florida State is doing now on the court.
It's 14 of the last 15 is a better way to say it. 14 of the last 15.
151 out of 152.
I don't know why the Miami field's a team. Sweet Jesus. Yeah, Florida State did get the win. It wasn't pretty. The game sucked. We won. Lot of bad basketball early in that game for a lot of the game, really, actually throughout. But we did get a couple of big threes from Swinton there, and next thing you knew, built a bit of a lead. And Malik Ewing bothered to show up last night, unlike the Clemson game, where he was persona non grata. Couldn't find him anywhere. And closed it out on the free throw line. We win 74-66. Sweep the season series from the Canes. We're back to, Tom, let's do this. Do you recall how close we were to having completed the Platinum Bohica?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was a devastating turn of events when it didn't happen. I mean, we were, I think, a game away, right? Yeah. And it didn't happen. And I remember being devastated. I remember also being concerned that it was going to happen and I was going to have to rush the court with the prized possession, which was the Platinum Bohica. And you guys can read between the lines, but that's not a trophy that is comfortable to hold aloft. And I was willing to. Now, I figured that might come with an arrest. I wanted certain provisions in place that if I were going to walk out onto the court uninvited to hold aloft before the Miami bench, the Platinum Bohica.
Sponsored by the official legal counsel of the Jeff Cameron Show.
I needed protection because, I think I would have been attacked, would have been seen by many in the audience who didn't understand what the Platinum Bohica represented and was as a madman, hell-bent on assault. So I was concerned that, if we went through with all of this and the Bohica was raised on high, platinum as it were, that I could have gotten a little bit of trouble. But I was still willing to go through it since we had invented it so many years ago, really with the thought that it could never happen, that it would be highly unlikely that we could ever get to the Platinum Bohica. And there we were on the precipice. So why do I bring it up? Well, very quietly, we've won 5 straight games again in the series. I mentioned 14 of 15, but that's 5 straight games now over Miami. We are halfway to the Platinum Bohica yet again, just like that. So just when Miami thought they had thwarted, had moved on from, had broken free from the terrible chains of the Bohica that were rattling in their ears when they were one game away from having been bonded to that most dubious honor. But now, they can see it on the periphery. That's 5 straight. They don't really show a lot of signs that they're on the verge of vanquishing Florida State. I mean, it's also 16 of 18 dating back to 2017. It's a lot.
Well, and that Bohica was within the crosshairs as well for football. That's actually what happened first. And then you had the Third and Kelly loss.
And it all fell to right.
Pieces.
The Third and Kelly loss.
It was one of those where you close out that game and you don't have a Third and Kelly moment. All you got to do is go down there and beat them at a neutral site the next year. You come back home for the Bohica. It was actually fairly close to happening.
It could have happened.
Fairly close.
I think people forget we were that close to the Bohica in football too.
Yeah.
Ooh, those were good days. Salad days when Florida State was out here on the verge of Bohican Miami for the platinum style of football 10 is crazy if it ever happens.
Well, let's not kid ourselves. That's why it was so big, the play that Kalen DeLoach made on the road at Clemson and the catch that Keon Coleman made in overtime against Clemson.
Yeah, that's correct.
We'd be staring.
We were on the cusp of a Bohica.
We would have the nose to the Bohica.
No, nobody wants their nose to the platinum Bohica. No, it's not a photo that you want taken. It's a tough one. So luckily that didn't happen either. The fact that we were ever in that position as well for a different rival is kind of upsetting. Malik Ewing ended up, by the way, for as much as I got, maybe he heard the show, I don't know. As much as I got on him, he ended up with a career-high 24 points, 10 of 10, ties him for second place in the FSU record books with the famed Tat Hunter, who has a fantastic name. Tat Hunter, November of 1985, before Tom was born and I was a freshman in high school. That's the time that our age difference comes into play, buddy.
I think that's the name for a single motorcyclist.
Tat Hunter?
Tat Hunter.
Yeah, and he's committed a crime or two. Maybe not the real life Tat Hunter, but the Tat Hunter in our mind.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That Tat Hunter, he's well liked, but people are a little on edge because they know Tat will break the law.
Yeah, when you go to the convenience store with Tat, because you're filling up your rig there, and you walk into your hog. Excuse me.
Yeah.
You can tell how Southern I am.
Well, that has nothing to do with. I think that's just bike culture. That's in the Midwest too. But anyhow, go ahead.
I guess. But when you walk into the convenience store, and he says, "You know what you should do," and he suggests something illegal, you get uncomfortable because he'll do it.
Yeah. You
should grab a handful of those. Like, no,
we don't.
No, we don't need to grab a handful of nothing, man.
No, we're just filling up the hog.
We could take money out of the register right now. What do you think? Now, Tat.
That was years ago, man. It's not us anymore.
Tat, you can get down the way you want to get down, but I'm gonna hop on my hog, and I'm gonna get out of here.
One of the days off, Tom, not long ago, I went to a motorcycle bar, and with Christy,
last week
with Christy, yeah.
What?
Well, the weekend going into that, yeah. So I worked Monday and Tuesday of last week, but not Wednesday through Friday. But prior to that weekend, I had gone.
You went to a motorcycle bar?
Yeah, of sorts. Yes, it is. It's not advertised in that way, but yes. And it was illuminating. It was illuminating. I'll tell you about it later. But it was illuminating.
Was it like Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
No, it wasn't quite like that.
You play tequila?
No, but the food was delicious, and that's why I went there. That's a different story for a different time. Anyhow, Tat Hunter in 1985 against Tampa also was really good on a particular night. And Doug Edwards, my man, 1992 UNC Asheville, most field goals made without a miss in a game. Those are the other guys. So Malik Ewing, Doug Edwards, Tat Hunter. The record, however, and this reminds me of the Christian Laettner game in the NCAA tournament against Kentucky, but for the Florida State record for most field goals made without a miss in a game, all-time FSU record, I was 5, you were 10 years from being born, is 11 for 11. So Malik Ewing almost tied a record that's been around since 1976. It's by Greg Grady in February of 76 against Illinois State. You old-time listeners, of which we have plenty, if you're an old-timer, you know about Greg Grady. I do not. I had just, a short time earlier flown over from Europe to live in Florida, actually New York and then Florida. But yes, that was me. I was a small child. FSU is 16-10, 7-8 in the ACC. Not likely to find their way to the NIT anytime soon. So this is not a ding-ding. I'll reach for the bell in the hopes that it conjures up some sort of proper juju and we find a way to make the NIT. There you go.
Or perhaps just some magic for 1 week in Charlotte. Because when Ewan plays like that, He is captivating.
Well, he's really good, and that's why I was so disappointed with 3 minutes to go against Clemson. He had a 2-point performance.
Awkward putbacks, 360 moves, excellent court vision from the post, passing out, passing across the court.
Yeah.
Good screens, physical around the rim.
He's a good player. He's a good offensive player.
He is.
Really good.
Can dribble, can drive.
He can do things.
Would be nice to see the best of Jameer Watkins for a small stretch and the best of him at the same time. It would give you hope.
Against the law. FSU, as I said, 16-10. So the worst they can finish. Here's what they've procured, which is what I was rooting for yesterday on the show. They cannot finish with a losing record this year. Good. I did not want Ham to finish his career at Florida State with a losing record in his final season. So it is that he cannot have a losing record in his final season. But they still need to win one more game to guarantee that they're over 500. This only guarantees that they would be 500, no worse than that. And that's if they lose the rest of their games, which is a possibility. Their difficult stretch, upcoming games against Duke and Louisville, home matchups against desperate bubble teams like SMU and North Carolina. So you kind of worry about how hard we'll be playing compared to how hard they'll be playing. We need one more victory in either the regular season or the ACC tournament to guarantee that winning season. It's highly unlikely they'll receive the NIT bid, given that their net is currently 88th, and the NIT rarely gives bids to power conference teams outside of the top 80, unless they go on a crazy run. Tom. So we'll have to wait and see.
You know what? You can get embarrassed all you want between now and the end of the regular season, as long as you
I prefer they
it.
not.
Save it for Charlotte. Save all of it. All of those eggs. Going to need them. Going to spend every one of those eggs in that basket for one magical week in Charlotte.
Do you like eggs?
No.
I think I knew that you did not like eggs.
Yeah. I can have them in fried rice. That's about as far as I go with eggs.
You can't well, sometimes I know how you are. You've got a texture issue with certain food.
I do.
So
I'm proud of it.
So the thought is, I would have thought you could have scrambled eggs, but not, say, over easy.
Yeah.
Or, no sunny side up, no chance in hell.
No.
You would probably run out of a room.
Yeah.
The mere thought of it bothers you.
Well, if you force me to eat it, yeah, I would try and leave. Yes.
What about
if it's across from me at the table? No thing.
And an omelet?
Nah.
What if I had an omelet with, you love bacon and sausage. If I've had an omelet with bacon and sausage infused in there. No?
Hold the eggs.
I just I'm sad you can't enjoy the beauty of an omelet. Omelets are amazing. They're one of the gifts of the gods that we can have omelets.
I don't know. I think just having a bagel filled with meat is a delightful sandwich. I think that's great in and of itself. Maybe some peppers. No
egg salad.
No, sir.
What about a deviled egg?
No.
Deviled eggs are delicious. Damn it, man. Deviled eggs often possess things that you love, like spiciness and hot sauce and things like that on a deviled egg.
The good thing is I can get spiciness elsewhere.
You can, but they're right sauce? There on that little deviled egg. They're unbelievable.
No, not a big eggs guy. Dairy in general,
Well, all right. A shake? Can you eat a shake?
I wouldn't prefer one. I'll give you gelato. That's about as far as I go.
All right.
It's gelato.
Well, we've gone from eggs into somehow getting into ice cream categories and the like.
I have started to take to chocolate cake as a dessert. It was always a never dessert. If the menu comes, that's just time for me to kick back and talk with people.
Yeah, I don't like dessert either.
But if somebody's down with a 7-layer cake, I might split it with them. That's new in the last year.
What about pie? Do you like,
I know the discussion.
Yeah, no. I'm asking you legitimately. Like, do you like a good piece of blueberry pie, apple pie, cherry pie?
It's so often overcooked. If it's not, we're in business. I can have some.
Man, pie is delicious. I mean, yeah. Like I
got no problem with the fruits.
I'm not a fan of cake. That's why I was countering with pie.
Yeah, I don't generally eat it. I don't long for it. Yeah. Every once in a great while, more of a brownie. Like a brownie would be in play.
What about a fried egg sandwich?
A fried egg sandwich?
Fried eggs.
right?
It's the texture should be fried out of it.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe.
That's better than a hard pass. I'm a little concerned.
What about sausage gravy?
No.
Oh, what's wrong with it? It's just sausage and gravy. I don't know. What is it about that?
What's the need for the gravy? Why do we need to liquefy this?
Oh, no, but it's thick. It's not like runny. It's thick.
I don't know, man.
Do you put gravy on turkey?
No, I don't really use gravy or dressing, however you want to call it.
I don't have dressing.
The only
That's
gravy
like
I like
dressing.
The only gravy I like is red, and the Italians make it.
Yeah,
that's the kind of gravy I like.
Oh, man. Knowles win last night, folks. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Every journey starts with a first step, a daring step. But what they don't say about first steps is that you have to keep going, taking step after step, and eventually you take a big leap, accomplishing more than you ever thought possible. After 57 years, Tallahassee Community College is soaring even higher, and we're now officially Tallahassee State College. We invite you to take a step and visit Tallahassee State College. Learn more at tsc.fl.edu.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
Enterprises, roofing and construction services. Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those dark leaks. Call 850-766-134. Keys Park Enterprises, roofing and construction services. Keys Park Construction.com.
CCC 1331204.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying, or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Congratulations to the gentleman who won last night. Kelly and his crew went to the game. I hope. We certainly sent him the tickets. If he did, he was in the box for the good stuff. A lopsided win against Miami is always good, even when it's really late. I tried. I'm not going to lie. I didn't make it to the end. I had it on in the back bedroom as I tried to pry my eyes open with toothpicks to see this thing through.
Yeah, and it was nip and tuck for 30-odd minutes.
I know, and I kept waiting for us to pull away, and I thought, come on, man. Because what happens to me in any Florida State sporting event, no matter where I am, this happened to me when I was in Europe. Not this last time, but years and years ago for an NIT game against Michigan. Anyhow, if I know we're playing something and I fall asleep during it, which is rare. I mean, I'm not going to fall asleep for too many things, but regular season basketball games in which we're not headed to even the NIT, it's tough to conjure the motivation. It's not the same.
Maybe a 12-1 game. You're leading Penn on a Sunday here.
Yeah. Let's for some reason, and you doze off a little bit. Yeah.
It's another call of the bullpen.
Yeah. That it can absolutely happen. But it is pretty rare. So anyhow, what happens to me is my eyes pop open 1:00 in the morning, and I go, "Oh man, did we win?" And I do the thing you're not supposed to do. I grab the phone, which I keep on the nightstand on vibrate, just an emergency. That's one thing I do hate. I don't like that you're still tethered, even because you can't not be available if somebody were calling you in an emergency. What if something happened to God forbid, my mom or dad or whatever? I would need to know. When we had house phones, they would just ring at 1:00 in the morning. You sat straight up in bed knowing that ain't a good call. Nobody who has this number would call right now at this time without this being something terrible, or they're blitzed. But I was a kid at that time, so there was no chance that was the case, right?
You can whitelist some of your contacts, though, and sleep more at ease. We can go through that process so that your home phone in Sarasota, it's not Sarasota, it's Bradenton.
Bradenton, where my mom lives, yeah.
And your dad's phone. We could do that.
Where that's the only call that can get through.
But then you put it on Do Not Disturb, and nothing else can get through but these specific contacts.
Well, that's what we'll do then at the end of the show.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to do that. Yeah, there's a handful that I would let get through, and that's the end of it. All right. But the point is I don't have that set up right now.
Jones.
Hey, Bo. So the phone rings, and I'll pick it up, or in this case, I need to know a score. It's the quickest way to know the score. I grab.
Guess where I am right now, Jeff?
Yeah, that's what he would do. Oh, man. I would crack up if he called me at that hour. I doubt very seriously he's up at that hour these days either. But I would, I did. I checked the phone. Well, you know what you do? You know what you do every time? You're like, oh, did we win? Oh, well, let's check the box score. Next thing you know, it's been 3 minutes of you staring at the particular details of how we won, maybe the story, maybe you read the story from the AP or one of our guys, if we had somebody there, and then you look at the numbers, and then you're like, oh, look at that. You had a great game. Next thing you know, you're like, I wonder, who's pitching tomorrow in spring training? And here we go. The next thing you know, it's been 15 minutes. Somehow I'm still staring at that thing, and now all the bright light has gone into and I can't go back to sleep. Now I'm screwed. I screwed the whole night up because I needed to know whether or not Florida State won that game. It happened last night, but I was able to get back to sleep. There is something wonderful about glancing at a score. It doesn't have to be Florida State, any of your teams. You ever fall asleep during an extra innings matchup with your Mets, or I've done it with my Pirates on the West Coast? Forget about it. I got another shot here. We're playing the Dodgers out west. It's 2-2 in the 8th. I'm falling asleep. Damn it, man.
Oh, buddy. So last year when I was first dealing with the vertigo, I couldn't stay up in this. They played a weekday series in Texas, and they were down 4 or 5-1. And it's a rally. You can feel it. This game's not over. There's some games that have that feeling where you're going, hey, man, look, even if we don't scratch more than one across here, that turns the line over, lineup over again for the 8th inning. This game is not dead. And I couldn't stay up long enough. I even had the radio on because I'm up there. I'm on the AM dial.
Well, that's nice to do.
It's cool.
The radio's cool.
Passed out. Woke up, and I thought, I even have a little ritual. Sometimes I tap the phone a certain way. I'm like, come on, baby. Here we go. It's gonna be a good
it's
one.
Like changing the channel and walking around.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
And I wake up, 8-6 win. I went, that's it right there. That's it.
You
But
knew.
it's peaceful. There's a moment of serenity, like that you didn't live through it, almost as satisfying.
Well, it's stupid of me because when I do it, I end up reading stories like one that I read yesterday, and it sends me down this path of, like, it's this whole thought exercise. It's ridiculous. I saw where, indulge everybody. I saw where Boise State football team, the athletic department, are they're adding to their stadium as well. And given that we're in the midst of doing that, I wanted to compare and contrast. Oh, what are they doing in their stadium? And whatever for, because they're stuck in no man's land. So here's what it is. They have a $65 million renovation scheduled for completion by 2026, July 1st, 2026. And it's because they're joining the Pac-12. And I thought, yeah, the Pac-12, that's right. You are still trying to exist. And then I went down the path of seeing who else was joining the Pac-12. And then there was a long article about how that commissioner, who I love, that woman is awesome. She's funny. They meet and drink in Vegas and talk about their situation.
The JCS at Pac-12 Media Days.
I'm telling you, we should do it. Anyhow, she is big on, like, hey, we're not going to sit over here and weep for what's happened to college football or our beloved conference. We got to get it together and figure something out. And we got to put something together that we can then sell in turn so that we can get another television contract and make some damn money. We got sold down the river. There's no sense in sitting around and dwelling on that. And she's in the midst of doing that. But she's demanded all of the programs that are joining the Pac-12, that includes Boise State, with massive stadium upgrades. Like, hey, man, I know you all think the blue Albertsons field there is cool. We need to do more. We got to do better if we're committed to football. So these teams that have joined, not all, Gonzaga doesn't even have a football team, but they're told they got to get one. This is kind of cool. They're doing that now. And I was just looking at the renovations, and then I started longing for what could have been, which was the game that we were going to go to, and we were that effing close. We got to come here, beat our ass.
We had a good first half.
We had a good first half.
We did.
And then the boys from Boise somehow didn't wilt under the 115-degree heat and humidity, but our guys were cramping, and then the head coach blamed the training staff. Wonderful. We were off to a roaring start. But anyhow, and that quarterback, which looked like God's gift to quarterbacks, has gone on to suck at 16 different schools.
That would be Bachmeier.
Yes. And there we are. That's what happened.
Poor Cam Akers. He fumbled. It was a big moment in that game, too. But he had the whole team on his back. Rough career for Cam.
I just remember it was ungodly hot. That was up there.
Well, they moved it from Jayville to here because of concerns.
Well, and it was so hot. I remember it reminded me of when we played Wichita State in baseball for the regionals here. And there was a game where I thought those old people in the grandstand were going to die. I mean, it was hard enough for people under the age of 50 to survive that afternoon of baseball. But I thought anybody over is dead. This is awful. It was not just sweltering. There was like a pall, like a blanket that just over the field, but it didn't block out the sun. So it captured the heat and humidity, and you just were left to sit there. And, oh, man, it was probably good that back then they did not sell beer. I guess they wouldn't now either. Isn't the NCAA in control?
It's a good question. I wasn't here last year for regionals or supers, so I don't know if they sold beer. My guess is they would have.
I think they have to, right? I mean, the NCAA kind of acquiesced a long time ago to beer sales.
But those are the days that you can hear the heat. It's got a sound to it.
We used to go out to football practice the start of the season when we first had two-a-days, and I remember that sound of which you speak. And you're in that first day of full pads, and when you go out there, and we always began practice with this one long run around these two different fields, and when we came back, we had to get in line for the calisthenics part of practice to start. And the first thing we did after doing some stupid jumping jacks thing is we had to lay on our back to do leg lifts, and they would do the up, out, in, down, all that. laying in that tall ass grass that they wouldn't mow. It would drive me nuts. I'm like, why would you do this? It's hotter than hell. There are bugs everywhere. We got to lay down in the tall grass. Oh, it was worse than I welcomed getting hit more than I did laying in that grass.
Yeah, there's nowhere to hide.
Oh.
You feel like the ground is a refuge, and when it's worse, that becomes a real problem. And that's when, if you played in the summer on concrete, if you're playing pickup basketball, for me, hockey, like, I enjoyed, and we were so resilient in those days as kids. If you think about the awful diets we had, and yet we would play for 6-7 hours a day.
And then drink sodas and get big gulps and Slurpees.
Yeah, a Mountain Dew Slurpee.
Yeah.
I'd slam a couple of spicy chicken sandwiches and let's go back out there. Let's go do it again.
Yeah.
But your pores would hurt. Like I even remember that as a kid. Muscles were fine. I'll be ready to go the next day. But there was a point at which the sweating hurt. This all hurts. This is not the way it's supposed to be. But then you slam another Slurpee and you're fine.
When my kids complain of the heat, I turn instantly into the old man that pretends to have had to walk uphill both ways in the snow to go to school. Oh, you think you're hot now? And realistically, we both know this growing up where we did. It's hotter here than it is in Tampa St. Pete. It
Raw
just
temp,
is.
yes.
It is. Raw temp, it just is. There's no water for the breeze to come off of.
Right.
Now, listen, it gets ungodly hot down there, but, man, there's no breeze.
The one difference, that sweltering thing that you talk about, if you were at somebody's home near, or a high school or middle school football field near swamps. Nah, man, like that's different.
Yeah, swamp heat, yeah.
Because then you're essentially running through lots of water vapor.
Yeah, swamp heat and lake heat.
Swamp, yeah.
A little pond, retention pond heat.
Yep. Yeah, 104 on the heat index in a swamp trying to hit it.
No.
Yeah, you're like, man, I don't know about all this.
Shannon Young has made a move to be part of the nation's largest mortgage company, no longer with Cross Country. Well, no, he is with Cross Country Mortgage. He left the other place. My bad. I'm losing it. Better rates, better options, stronger support, faster response. Serving in 7 different states. How about that? You got the Carolinas, you got Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, and Georgia, of course. And he's a hard worker. He's really smart. He's relentless. He's goal-oriented, and he has a ton of energy. I like sitting down and listening to that man's passion comes out every time I ask him a question about an add-on to my house, or whether or not I should sell it, or what do you think? Should I do this? Should I get a HELOC loan? What should I do? He's got it. Unwavering commitment, especially to his fellow Noles, because he too is a Nole. Loansfornoles.com to learn more. That is loansfornoles.com.
Your local news now.
A woman was hurt after a collision caused her dump truck to overturn Wednesday. The incident began when a 52-year-old Quincy woman driving a fully loaded dump truck traveling westbound on Coastal Highway was following an empty dump truck driven by a 61-year-old man from Crawfordville. The empty dump truck turned off, but the fully loaded dump truck was following too close and tried to swerve, but still collided with the other dump truck, causing it to overturn. The Quincy woman was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. A man is in custody after fleeing a scene on a golf cart, spurring a multi-agency manhunt Wednesday afternoon in southeast Monticello. The situation unfolded at about 3 after deputies responded to a domestic violence call between a father and son. The fight between the pair led the son to flee on a golf cart. He later ditched the vehicle and headed into nearby woods on foot. Through the help of an FHP drone, officers were able to locate the man and arrested him. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. High of 51 this afternoon under mainly sunny skies. North winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Lows around 31 tonight, clear skies. Highs around 52 tomorrow. A mix of clouds and sunshine and dry Saturday and Sunday. Low 60s Saturday, mid 60s by Sunday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 47.
Country rock trailblazer, Bradley Gilbert, the Tattoos Tour 2025. These angels from the Donald L. Tucker Civic Center on Friday, April 11th, with special guests Travis Denning and Austin Snell. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. The brand new album Tattoos is available everywhere. For more, visit BradleyGilbert.com. Produced by Pepper Entertainment.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean,
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Florida's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com multimedia network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
On the FSU front, I didn't make mention of this, but and it happened a couple days ago. Anyhow, Tom, I'm with you. I've joined the Kevin Sperry fan club. I like that kid. There's a little something to him, huh?
There is.
He's got a little what for to him.
And that matches what the highlight film says he can do on the field. You know, there's a little extra, which you need in this system. If it's going to be around for a few years, you need that little extra because they're going to ask you to run a lot.
Well, and this brings me to my point. You know, the last couple of times that I've spoken about Florida State football, it hasn't been sort of a, engineered way to infuse that into the show for the fact that, the large percentage of this audience wants some football content year round. There are days where it's just not there. I can usually think of an angle. There are things that are constantly kicking around my brain, and luckily I have an outlet for it. My wife would be like, "Are you kidding me? You're going to talk about this now in March when we're miles away from Florida State football starting?" But luckily we have the Jeff Cameron Show, so I can do that. But every now and then, and a lot lately, there's been something of substance where you could, I'm genuinely excited. I wouldn't have brought it up otherwise. Genuinely excited about the defense that Tony White's going to put together. And I talk about it a lot, that basically, hey, get me to that spring practice and let's see how quickly we get this thing going. How quickly we start hitting out here and get after it. Just a different mindset. But listening to his interview on Tuesday, I thought, that's interesting. That doesn't sound much like a quarterback. He's talking about running people over and how much he enjoys running people over, and that he feels like that brings a lot of energy to the team. Well, given the offense that we're switching to, I'm going to need my quarterback to not avoid contact. I'm going to need my quarterback. A lot of times, when we were talking about Jordan Travis, unfortunately, one of his weaknesses is that he was injury prone. He had, he didn't have the body for it. He's tough. I never questioned his toughness. He's a tough kid, but he got hurt a lot, especially early in his career. And again, he wasn't necessarily built for that kind of thing. He could run like the wind blows, and he could make you miss. He was a freak of an athlete, but you didn't want him in the crosshairs of a 238-pound linebacker squaring him up. Certainly not a defensive end, etc. But you now are going to run an offense where it certainly would behoove you to have a guy who, A, has the mentality of bring it on. I'll run you over, and I actually can't wait. And, his father was a linebacker at Washington State. He played running back until 8th grade, so he comes by it naturally. He likes to run the football, and I agree. I think we're going to run the hell out of him when his time comes. It'll be a few years from now, but when it happens, I think we'll run the hell out of him.
It just is a prerequisite. As long as this is your offensive coordinator, you need to expect that the quarterback is going to be called upon to run a lot. And even if the quarterback is not a runner first, he's still going to be called upon because it makes the world go round for that offense. You have to. This is the thing that we got so pissed off about the last couple of seasons. even when Jordan was healthy in 23.
Wouldn't run.
They have to honor it. They have to honor it. And when they do, even if they do, Jordan, you're singular. You're going to make that guy miss anyway. So it would be a good idea to have the safety you have to think about it rather than just the read defender we're looking at on the end of the line. Because if they have to consider that, then Trey's going to hit more home runs than whatever backside post you're looking at or whatever route combination you're looking at on the weak side of the field is going to be open, because they have to account for the fact that they're scared blankless of your legs. Well, Gus demands that it happens. It's going to happen. And you could look like Jarrett Stidham, or you could look like Nick Marshall, or you could look like Cam Newton. Doesn't matter. You're going to run the football.
You have to have the threat of that in your offense for this whole thing to work. Now, the young man we're referencing there from Denton, Texas, ran for 1,156 yards and 8 touchdowns in his final season. Now, he threw for 2,523 yards and 27 touchdowns, but I just went straight to the rushing yardage because, damn, you rush for over 1,100 yards.
Well,
all right then.
Yes, and he said his top speed is up to 21 miles per hour. Now, that doesn't tell you how fast they are. It just tells you what their top end is, and that could take somebody 6 steps, 10 steps, 3 steps. But still, there's a willingness to run. There is some top-end speed there. And, again, from his huddle stuff, his highlight films, you see a comfort level with throwing on the run, on the move, standing up, climbing the pocket. I love the variety of the ways that he delivers the football, because this offense is not going to have you sit back there and be triangulated, and then it's a race. Can we hold up versus how long it takes for this route to come open? No, you're going to be on the move an awful lot, and he seems to embrace that with the way that he played in high school.
Loves the tour of duty, said, I think it's the only thing that we're doing right now that's real, like game environment. There's just a lot of chaos, a lot of yelling, a lot of details that you need to memorize. Obviously, it's tough, but I love it. Cool. Good. Fostering a different breed of player, a different kind of guy on both sides of the ball will go a long way to making us feel better about perhaps how Florida State's going to take the field and the mentality that they bring with them. Now, again, I feel like we're always throwing in the caveat that after 2-10, we'll wait and see what it looks like. It's great to say all the things, but we need to see how well it's implemented and how quickly we can raise to that level. I was cracking up. I saw, we try. I don't do it nearly as well as everybody else, and I should probably do more of it, I suppose. It's not necessarily always asked of me because I have the 3 hours out here every day. But, when you work for and work with Warchant, or really any of the sites that cover the team, the people who work for these things are asked to engage and talk with the subscribers, just like I do with listeners and anything else. And so I'll occasionally go through on the boards and just kind of look to see if I can get a sense of where people's heads are at collectively. You just look at the posts and kind of look at, what's engaging them, what's making people talk right now. And, obviously the central theme is Florida State. But somebody was lamenting that there was exactly zero buzz for this Florida State football team heading into 2025. And I kind of chuckled at that. I thought, well, that's what happens when you're 2-10. There is no buzz. There is no buzz. But it doesn't mean that internally, you, me, and other diehard Noles, understanding full well that the outside press isn't going to have anything to say about a team that was as bad as we were a year ago, doesn't mean we can't be excited about some of the things that we're seeing in terms of the changes and what's going to be implemented. And we don't know if it's going to work. We can't predict that it's going to work. We don't know if it's going to radically alter Florida State's fortune and the next 2 years they're going to be a playoff team and find their way out of this godforsaken, sorry-ass conference. We don't know the big picture stuff there. But day to day, you can still get excited about things you hear, like what this young man had to say about the way he likes to play quarterback. And you can get excited about what I get excited about, which is what Tony White is trying to implement defensively. And just hope like hell that those changes and that mentality shift is going to be something that translates into wins.
Yeah, this is another place that I get excited that I wouldn't have if you're just looking at these things in a vacuum. And the two things are Gus Malzahn coming in to be the offensive coordinator. That doesn't excite me in a vacuum. Castellanos being your quarterback and coming in as a transfer doesn't excite me in a vacuum.
Correct.
However, to be fair, if you're going to bring both in, it's greater than the sum of their individual parts. Because this is a guy who's run for 1,000 yards in the ACC a couple of years ago. And you know that the way Gus calls it, that if he can run for 1,000 again, they're going to demand that Thomas runs for 1,000 yards.
They'll get the most out of that mobility, yeah.
Correct. Whereas in 2023, you could tell they were trying to save their bullets with Jordan Travis.
Man,
and yet
were
it
they.
ended up being a self-fulfilling prophecy of injury, and that's unlucky. I'm not saying that, that Mike willed it to be by not running him earlier. I'm just saying that you tried so hard to avoid the thing that happened in the game that you would never envision it would happen in the first place against South Alabama or North Alabama, whoever it was. But with this offensive mind and this quarterback who did spend a cup of coffee of time with UCF and Gus's offense a little earlier down the line, the learning curve shouldn't be as steep, and he shouldn't have a sense of entitlement or arrogance to not want to run the football. He knows what he is.
Well, I would hope, right? I mean, he complained that they were trying to make him, in essence, an old school NFL quarterback at Boston College. So if you're going to complain about him trying to transform you into something the NFL likes more, and that wasn't your cup of tea because it didn't utilize your strengths, then you ought not be bashful about utilizing the things that they weren't willing to utilize.
And that doesn't always happen. Sometimes running
Correct.
quarterbacks want to prove something, and sometimes they get it right.
Well,
Lamar Jackson was defiant.
Well, I believe Jordan Travis 100% didn't want to run in that final year so that he could try to prove above and beyond a shadow of a doubt that he could pass requisite to what you need in the NFL.
There's probably a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
Well,
I
he
don't
built
know
the
that,
offense
but I'm going
to
to
do
guess
that too,
yeah.
where he didn't need to. That was at least in theory. When you got Keon and Johnny Wilson and Jaheim Bell and that offensive line and Trey, you shouldn't really need him to run, but, then the offensive line wasn't so hot. But in this specific circumstance, it doesn't fire me up to say, oh, yeah, this is the Gus offense. But when you put it with a 1,000-yard rusher who wants to run the football, and we need to get back to basics to have a pulse again as a program, let alone not just the offense, like the program needs a pulse. If you're going to do it, this is the right combination to do it with.
You know what cracks me up is, and we all do this as fans, but we will, when facing an offense like the one that Florida State is going to run this year, like the one that Florida State's going to implement this year, we will wring our hands and talk. I mean, how many times, how many different ways am I going to read a comment the week of a game when we face a running quarterback? Well, Florida State never handles a mobile quarterback very well, and I always chuckle and point out that nobody does. No defense does a great job consistently on quarterbacks that can, when a play breaks down, really make you pay. And it's different when it's designed, as opposed to Lamar Jackson saw the rush, made the guy miss. You're in man, your back's turned. He's going 60 yards in the blink of an eye. That's a different sort of make you pay. Josh Allen being 254 pounds and running over your edge rusher and then going for 37 to pick up the first down is a different kind of a mobile quarterback. But either way, it kills your defense because they have this intangible, this thing that is very difficult to prepare for because it's not by design, it's not by scheme necessarily. But our fans hate it when we face a quarterback that can run around. And they now, I think, many of them are kind of the mindset, well, I don't know if I wanted a quarterback that can run around like that. Mickey Mouse running around quarterback. But if we were playing them and him, we'd go, oh, man, I don't know.
That's right, yeah.
These
yeah.
damn running quarterbacks.
You'll wet your pants all week before we play that team, but then we have that team, and you go, I don't know. What is this, really?
Right.
Well, at the very least, what it suggests is you look at the offensive line PFF grades as they come in, PFF being as limited as it is. There's just a through line here with this quarterback and that offensive line that if they're playing like talent or lesser talent, they do well, that's how you start. That's how you crawl before you walk. That's how you walk before you run, is when you play the lower tier teams on your schedule, you handle the lower tier teams on your schedule.
Of course, yeah.
And that's all we can ask for this year. And then maybe score an upset bid or two along the way. If they do anything more, it's a bonus.
And I get and fully accept and even embrace to some extent that when you hear that, when you hear Tom say that or we talk like that, which is this really low bar for achievement and performance, that you say, really? We're back at this again? but that's the truth. That's you can resent it, and you rightfully resent it. I think we all do, but that's the reality.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the reality.
And the hope is that this is yet another example of how quickly the portal can flip your fortunes in the positive sense. But if it isn't, then let's just do that. Like, conference, beat the Wakes of the world. Can we do that, please?
Prevent leaks before they start. Many large roof issues could have been avoided by fixing small leaks and defects before they worsened. Fix the minor issues to prevent more significant problems later on. By the way, my folks at T-Spark Enterprises, they do that. They do that along with commercial tenant build-outs. If you're looking for a second store, perhaps, or a new restaurant, something along those lines, they've got you. Protect you against wind damage, missing shingles. Call T-Spark today. They'll give you a roof inspection and get you caught up on what you need to do. It's one of the many things that they do and do extremely well. License number CGC 1525336, CCC 1331204. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Hour number 2 forthcoming momentarily. I got a funny story later this hour. We'll get to it.
Your body is a masterpiece designed to heal itself from within. Learn how to maximize your health by tuning in to Phenomenal Health with me, Dr. Ryan Finn. Saturdays at 2:30. Experience true health today and call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Injured? Call attorneys who care. Basic Brooks. Offices, Tallahassee.
3 days only, February 21st through the 23rd. Area boat and motor buyers will save thousands at Mike's Marine and Houseboat Show in beautiful Panacea. This is the event you don't want to miss. Every Yamaha motor from 2.5 to massive 425 horsepower has special extra low pricing. Yamaha, new gear, new reliability. Check out the region's largest selection of the best boats, including Speeder, Sea Hunt, Robalo, Tidewater, and G3, inshore, offshore, river, or lake. Mike's Marine has a boat for you, and you will buy for less. Some boat packages discounted over $10,000. Save on all accessories, including electronics and trolley motors too. They even drop prices on all pre-owned inventory. Lenders will be on site providing instant credit approvals and easy financing options. Door prizes too. And while you're there, drop in on one of Pannacea's phenomenal seafood restaurants. Hours of the show are Friday and Saturday from 8 to 6 and Sunday from 10 to 4. The Mike's Marine In-House Boat Show, February 21st through the 23rd. Don't miss it.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
We are the talk of the town. Really, we are. This is Real Talk 93.3. Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Crescent, Tallahassee.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit isf.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
What makes Paul's Termite and Pest Control the best in North Florida?
It's our core values, of course, and they happen to spell Paul's.
P, protecting you and your pets from pests and your property from termites. A, accept personal responsibility. At Paul's, we realize it's up to us to get things right and strive to do more than's expected.
U, uphold company values. Those values include treating others with respect and understanding we represent Paul's Pest Control on and off the clock.
L, look the part. As representatives of this great company, we will always make sure that our image matches the character of Paul's.
S, support the team. Every job we do is a total team effort to create a supportive workplace.
P, protecting you, your pets, and your property. A, accept personal responsibility. U, uphold company values. L, look the part. S, support the team. Paul's core values. They make us the best.
For the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Real Talk fact number 22. If tomatoes are fruit, that makes ketchup a smoothie. This is Real Talk 93.3.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Real Talk fact number 82. There are three kinds of people in the world. Those who can count and those who can't. This is Real Talk 93.3.
Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-FAR.construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those dark leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-FAR Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-FAR.construction.com.
Like this number, CCC 133-1204.
Here's a deep thought. What if the hokey pokey really is what it's all about? You're listening to Real Talk 93.3.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good on you. Appreciate you. All my postmen and postwomen that listen, all the UPS, Amazon, FedEx drivers, thank you for listening. A lot of my construction guys, people who own shops. Ran into somebody the other day, owned this little shop that was a pet store, basically. It's a healthy pet store that I frequent, and they listen to the show regularly in the pet store. I thought that was really cool. Made me smile ear to ear when I found that out. They said they have to keep it low because sometimes I'm foul-mouthed. Didn't hurt their feelings, but they worry about the customers. I don't feel like I am as much as I used to be, a little bit here and there.
It's a weak-ass policy.
Anyhow, it was great, so I appreciate that. Hey, I've got news on this front. Danny asked a question that was off topic completely, and it was a personal question, but it allows me to begin the hour in this weird sort of way because a lot of you have asked and been along for the ride, and I get it if you are of the audience that doesn't care about this at all, so I'll make it quick. There's plenty of you who do, and I will fuse the two things. One is part of the question, the other is something that was asked of me. Danny just asked, very off topic, do you have any sense of where your sons would like to go after high school, stay close to home for school, or go far away from home to do something else entirely? I'll answer that, but before I do, let me say this. Yesterday was our appointment at TOC, one of our 4 follow-up appointments that we've had for Bryce and I go with him each time to see Dr. Walters and to get another look at the x-ray, and to he gets examined, and they do run all these tests. He has been cleared. So he is, he's already been working out, already been doing a lot to try to gain weight, already doing a lot to get stronger, already doing, but he was not allowed to run. He was not allowed to cut. He was not allowed to run routes. He was not allowed to do certain things. Now he can. And just in time, a month or so from spring football, month and a half, whatever that is. And so he is excited as all hell to get back after it. And, it's funny. There's nothing better than watching anybody really, for that matter, who's passionate about something. I love passionate people, as long as it's well-guided, well-meaning. But and he was already doing these workouts at like 5 a.m. before school, but now he's allowed to like go with the receivers and do all the work and do the box jumps and the cuts and all the things. And so he was out the door this morning. I heard we have a thing on our front door that when it opens, it goes beep, beep, beep. So somebody's coming in and out. And I was laying in bed this morning at 4:40, kind of blinking, getting ready to wake up, and beep, beep, beep. Oh, there he is. He's out the door. How cool is that? So congratulations to my oldest. He's got a chance at it for his senior year to maybe do something decent. And you know what? I'm rooting for him. So to answer your question, Danny, we'll see with him. There've been a couple smaller schools that have inquired about him, and he had a good season before he got hurt last year. And Leon's not a great football team. They just hired a new coach, and we'll see what they become this year. But he's done pretty well, and we'll see how well he can continue to grow into that role. So I'm happy for him.
And this ties into something you were talking about last hour with a read with Shannon Young and annexes to the house and so forth. I would imagine that his plan about where to go to college will influence how much you would add on to the home versus how much you just might remodel from within.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Well, he's funny. I did this way back when, but not to the extent. So when I was a freshman in high school, sophomore in high school, I was kind of the mindset that I would go to a school that was near where I was growing up there in St. Pete. So that would have been a school for me. That would have been a school like South Florida or UCF or something like that. I wasn't even considering football per se. It was just that the thought of leaving home when I was really young, didn't appeal to me. But by the time I was a junior, I was like, no, I'm not staying in the state. If I can get the hell up out of this state, I'm leaving the state. And so my views shifted dramatically in such a short period of time. And so I take it with a grain of salt with either one of my boys. My other son, Clark, is a freshman. Nobody knows what the hell is going on in the world when they're a freshman in high school. They think they do. I thought I did, but we don't. And you don't know how radically you're going to change your view of the world and the place you live and the people you're around and the things you want to achieve or what interests you. So it's all things that can be dictated down the line and change your opinion very, very quickly. So when they say something like, oh, I want to stay here and go to Florida State, I want to stay here and I go, okay. I just pretty much nod and listen. I like to hear the reasons. But then if they say, oh, I'd like to go study abroad or I want to go here and here, okay. I sit and listen. And I don't know that I always spend a lot of time investing emotionally or spending a lot of thought on it because I know it's going to change. It's going to change month to month, week to week. In the case of Bryce, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, he could have a great season and more schools could inquire. And he's not, I don't want to paint the wrong picture. My son is not like, he's not like Dominic Robinson's son. He doesn't have people beating down the door for him to go to a Southern Cal or Florida State or Georgia or something like that. But he's a good enough player, and he's gotten stronger, and he's gotten bigger, and he is fast as hell. He could go somewhere like his pops did briefly, ETSU, somewhere like that, or a Western Kentucky, or who knows, an East Carolina, something like that. So we'll see. I don't know.
The swings and that kind of stuff is wild because this is the year where my niece and my nephew, this is niece number 2 and nephew number 1 in terms of age, they're both graduating. And the ups and the downs that they go through in their senior year with deadlines about early enroll,
when you have
early
to submit this and all that,
honors programs versus going to this other school, state institutions, out-of-state institutions. My niece lives in Atlanta. She has acceptance letters from most SEC schools and Florida State. That just came in last week, which is awesome. And they're giving her out-of-state tuition bonus so that it'll come down to an in-state cost. So that's a very nice thing for her to be accepted into. But she doesn't know. And she's also holding out for dream school. She wants to go to Georgia Tech. So she's holding out for Tech to get back to her. Meanwhile, my nephew, USF honors, he's in the band program, could be UF, could be Florida State, but deadlines are here, there, and everywhere. Oh my God. You need to have the loo button on my phone. So when my sister is filling me in on what's going on with either one of the two of them, I just hit the loo button for the gibberish because I don't know. And it changes every 10 minutes. That's from afar. I can't imagine being the parent in that household, but that's what's coming from what I've seen.
Well, every year we take a bunch of trips, or usually one or two. I shouldn't say a bunch. One in the summertime and one in during the school year when they have a break, whether it be Christmas break or spring break. And when we go to a city, we go to a place they've never been or a part of the country they haven't been. But whatever the place is that we're going to, it could be a big city like New York City when we came to see you, or it could be a smaller place like when we went skiing in Montana, wherever it might be. We go to the local university or universities. When we were up in Pittsburgh a couple summers ago, I made sure that we went over to both Pitt, but also the business school.
Carnegie Mellon.
Carnegie Mellon, yes. Yeah. And we went there, and we went to a bunch of different places. So, I try to open their eyes to the different ideas of what's out there. I think in retrospect, I like certainly as I got older, I certainly liked more collegiate towns. I agree with Jimbo Fisher on this. I enjoy college towns. There's a great feel to it. One of the great advantages Tallahassee has is it's got 3 colleges now. It's 2 universities and a college, and it's also the capital. So there's a lot of other things going on, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty rare for a place that houses universities. Most of the time, it's just the college is the central thing that is in a city, like when I was in Johnson City. That's all there is.
I think the opposite is true of living here as a resident versus what we talk about with football, like the barriers to the fan base having to travel so far to come here. I look at it the exact opposite way living in Tallahassee, that if you really wanted to go to something in Atlanta, if you really wanted to go to something in Tampa or Jacksonville or St. Augustine or Panama City or Pensacola, 3 or 4 hours. That's not that far.
Mm-hmm.
You're not asking too much. And yet, some of the downsides of living in big metropolitan areas like traffic.
Oh, buddy, yeah.
You don't have to deal with that here.
Yeah.
It's 25 minutes. Unless you leave at the precise wrong part of the day.
You can get anywhere in Tallahassee in about 25 minutes. Just about, yeah. No, I know. And we're in constant conversation because of all the things you do have to have and submit and all that. You're right. But my wife worries about it all the time. And I'm more laid back. I'm more laid back because of my worldview, my life view in general. About how I think how much your undergrad matters and some other things for that matter.
Probably matters more in dictating where you're likely going to live.
Yeah,
in your life.
I think the learning of the social constructs away from your home is important, and what it's like to have to interact with people who are not like you. And, for a lot of these kids, I don't get, every generation fails to understand the next generation. So I understand that it's nothing new, that this has been going on for a very long time. But I do not understand my son's generation whatsoever. I make an effort to, but they don't date. Like, none of the kids in high school date the way that we dated, or your generation. I think you were the last generation that dated in high school. Like,
yeah,
I meet other parents all the time and ask them, do your kids regularly go on dates and hang out and have boyfriends and girlfriends and all? They don't. It's very strange. So college will be an eye-opening experience for many of this generation.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, because we were fueled by it.
Yeah. Well, I think
we had less distractions.
And then also, I don't know. I think part of it is that they're on their phone all day. Maybe,
Correct.
You don't need to go physically meet somebody somewhere. So
yeah, so you lose out on what it is to be human. Sure, I agree.
Yeah.
No, that sucks, and it's very weird.
This is where the older generation preaches to the younger generation.
But no, I try not to do it.
Lost.
But I am right about that, and every generation is also partly right about certain things that are lost when something new comes along. Not everything that comes along that's new is better. Now, there are plenty of things that are, and that's the balance you have to strike. That's where you have to say, oh, there are a ton of great things about technology, incredible things about technology that we didn't have, that I would have loved to have had access to, that would have made all of our lives better and easier. But there are some things that are lost with what comes along. Right. There's no doubt about that.
You can go to ChatGPT and say, hey, MLA style, need a bibliography. Hey, let's whip that out there, please, for me.
Yeah, I don't have to learn anything.
Right. And that's way easier than easybib.com was for me. But then, my older sister would say, what, easybib.com? You've got it so simple. Well, no, I don't think ChatGPT probably has it unlocked relative to easybib.com.
Talked to a professor not long ago at FSU. In fact, it was 3 weeks ago. They can't get away with it. You wouldn't believe the safety measures for submitted papers and works.
Oh, the text of paper versus, yes, the bibliography. I think, the bib is the bib. What are we doing?
Yeah. But there are so many ways now, and they feed this stuff into a computer, and it's like, you're busted. They got you. Like, this was done by so-and-so in Orlando a year ago. It's the exact replica of, it's unbelievable. It's true. But yeah, I don't, it's funny. Bryce spends a lot of time talking about going to FSU. And on the one hand, I'm like, great. Awesome. And on the other hand, I'm like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, your room is now mine, son.
No.
There'll be a bed in there, but I'm going to customize it. You're not going to recognize it.
I tell him, go to Washington. Go to, like my nephew went to Seattle University before going to UVA Law. He crisscrossed the country. Like, that's pretty cool. You were at the streams there and, got real life experience in different places. But I don't know. It is a fascinating subject. And every time we are over at FSU now, one thing that is for sure, and we do it just from covering sports, but when you're on campus, man, and you go over there, I think it probably started when I was 30, but now it's unrecognizable, not only the campus, but just the kids. They look like babies.
They do.
Little babies.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I see Bryce, he's 17. In a year, he'll be, after this senior season coming up, he'll be off to college, presumably. And I think he looks like a little boy to me, like a growing, getting strong little boy, but a little boy to me. He didn't look like a man at all, not at all. But when I was in college, I thought we were all men. We're off to college now as men.
We didn't have the awareness. No. One thing I have learned, just to pump Florida State a little bit from an admission standpoint, it's still the same as it was when I was in school. When I applied and had my forays with Gainesville, I thought I was going to go there for a long time. I ended up going to Iona. Very impersonal process. Just you go to different institutions,
Sure.
They deal with different advisors and welcoming committees and so forth. Not the most personable people in Gainesville. And this had nothing to do with me being an old, because I thought I was going to Florida. Like I was kind of going to do it. And I was just underwhelmed. Then I called Florida State when I was going to transfer out after my freshman year, first semester. I was like, the hell with this.
Yeah, you were done with Iona.
I was. Florida State was awesome. Just the people. I thought, oh, well, then this is just very fitting. Same feedback I'm getting from my nieces and nephews. And one's a legacy Gator. And he said, man, I got to tell you, up here, people are just friendlier. Well, there you go, Florida State. Keep it up.
Yeah, well, who you run into and whoever gives you your guided tour and the people you talk to absolutely have a huge impact on your impressions as you walk away. Let's say you're visiting 15 different universities and 4 of the people are a-holes for no reason. You caught them on a bad day.
Sure.
They're not personable, whatever it might be. You're probably not going to one of those 4 schools. They've had a direct impact. In many ways, you don't even recognize to the extent because you're going to end up sitting down looking at, could I get into this school? Did I get into these schools? Okay, I got into these 7. All right, these 7. Oh, well, this guy was an a-hole. Boom, they're done. They're done.
But it used to be, when I was going, because there was a giant divide in terms of academic entry requirements, Florida State was going to be more aggressive to go get you if you had a good profile.
Of course, but that's changed a lot now.
Completely changed. And yet, with the rejection rate being essentially the same for undergrad, way to go, FSU. You keep that up. That is a difference maker.
No, I agree with you. I think it is a difference maker. Do want to make mention of something that has to do with hockey. A twofold hockey segment here in just a second. We will get to it. First, let me say this. Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas has everything you need for pool maintenance, chemicals, cleaners, pumps, vacuums, nets, covers, you name it, they've got it. We all know they already have the largest selection of premium hot springs, hot tubs in the entire city. Can easily finance that, by the way, making these hot tubs really affordable, amazingly affordable. If you got an old hot tub, it's dilapidated, beat up, needs to be shipped out, they'll come and get it. They'll haul that sucker away, and they'll apply whatever good is left in that hot tub to the new one. That's what they'll do. They make it easy. Go check them out. Having an amazing hot tub is not out of reach. Go see them today. Greer Road. Find out for yourself how easy and affordable it really is. Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. If you're ready to relax, they're ready to show you how.
Listen to what people are saying about ACL Home Inspections.
They took the time to explain every detail, providing clear insights and answering all of my questions.
I needed an inspection quickly. ACL scheduled me within 24 hours, and the inspector was able to arrive early. That was a huge bonus, and my 2 dogs absolutely adore him.
ACL Home Inspections will accompany you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy, then provide you with an easy-to-read digital report the same day. For homeowners planning to list their house on the market before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection.
As a very analytical person, I want to see all the details and ask questions. I interviewed 3 home inspection companies and was very impressed by ACL.
See for yourself what people are saying. Search ACL Home Inspections and find out more at aclhomeinspections.com or call 850-312-8919. 850-312-8919. 8919.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Gather around Tallahassee, it's time to fire up the grill and make some unforgettable family memories, courtesy of Hearth and Patio. Whether it's juicy steaks, succulent burgers, or those special family recipe ribs, they've got the grills that will make your backyard the hottest spot in town. From gas to charcoal, they have the perfect grill for every meat lover's dream. Call Hearth and Patio today, where the quality of your cookout is their passion. Give them a call today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. We wanted to make our last new 2024 models a win-win. You win with a fantastic deal, and we win by making room for more 2025s. Listen to these offers. The 2024 all-electric SUV Aria. Get 0% for 72 months and $5,000 off. Not financing? You get $12,500 off. But hurry, only 6 2024 Arias left. Our 4 remaining 2024 Titan pickups are all $10,000 off, and you get 0% for 6 60 months. Get 0% for 72 months on the last 5 new 2024 Murano SUVs in stock, or you can get $8,000 off. 3 remaining 2024 Frontiers are $6,000 off. 3 remaining 2024 Altimas are $7,500 off. And 2 remaining 2024 Armadas are $10,000 off. People have been waiting a long time for available 0% financing up to 72 months and discounts up to $12,500. Well, Kraft has it in February, only at Kraft Nissan Tallahassee.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I don't know how many of you did watch on that Saturday night when the United States took on Canada in a 3-1 win. That was riveting and a lot of fun to watch. And we talked, Tom, you weren't here on the day that I did talk about it on Monday with the 4 nations that the NHL has solved for their All-Star game problem. And the NBA has got to figure something out. And the aftermath of all of this is that every league is trying to figure out what the NHL figured out, which isn't so much that you have geopolitics involved, which has elevated this rivalry, if you will, between the United States and Canada, which is going to take place tonight. And it's a rematch, obviously, with all the marbles and all that good stuff. It's still just an exhibition game, but it feels like a lot more. And the teams are approaching that game like it's a lot more. See the 3 fights in 9 seconds. So you understand that there's an intensity and a focus involved in that game, and you'll watch, and it'll feel like there's a lot more on the line. There's nothing really on the line. Pride is on the line, but there's not a lot more on the line. And the other leagues, the NFL and the NBA, and to an extent Major League Baseball and others, are trying to figure out, how do we get guys to care as deeply as they clearly care in this manufactured way that the 4 Nations event has created, conjured from nothing, a sense of real drama and intensity that didn't exist just a year ago. And I don't know what the answer is to that. I would think that you would end up having to do something like incentivize, say, the NBA All-Star game. The winner gets home court and a certain bonus amount of money that comes with winning that game. That would guarantee that it was worth your while to defend and try to beat the opponent, right? To the extent that you would say, there's more than pride on the line here, guys. You're going to have home court if you're on a good team and you're one of the 5 teams that have a shot to make the NBA Finals. You'd like home court. Number 2, the winner gets this much money, the loser gets nothing. There you go. I mean, perhaps something like that. We'll see. Years and years ago, you didn't have to do that, but years and years have passed, and guys figured out, I'm not getting hurt in a game that means nothing. They somehow found a way, and they used pride of country, I suppose, in the NHL to get people to compete as if it were actually the Olympics, which is great, which is fun.
Yeah, I think that would diminish over time. They don't have a 4 nations on the docket for next year. I don't know if they're going to try and force that.
I think they are, from what I've read. You got guys getting hurt, though. The Americans are all beat up going into this game tonight.
There's flu bugs going around, all that kind of stuff as well. Yeah, it's going to lose its luster if it's done every year, and it's going to lose its luster very quickly, because the problem that the NHL has had over the last 10 years is a lack of participation in the Winter Olympics, because they couldn't get the contracts insured.
Right.
And you have the IIHF, which is the FIFA of hockey, and the NHL saying, hey, somebody's got to pay for this, and it ain't going to be us in terms of a player gets injured. And so that led to issues where there's scarcity here of the ability to play for your country. You can do so in World Juniors, and that's a humongous deal in Canada. Like, the country shuts down for World Juniors. But then after that, these guys don't get a chance to play, but maybe once or twice in their career. You add a moment like this, that's why. It's a scarce opportunity. Even in basketball, people are saying USA versus world. Well, Yeah, but the best are going to play every 4 years in the Olympics. They don't have that problem like hockey does.
Right.
And it's also scheduled for the Olympics opposite when the NBA season is. It's right in the summer. So it's extra time beyond the finals if you go the distance, but it's not, you don't have to take a break in the middle of your season for the Olympics, which is what hockey would do. Anyway, so I think the long reason is not just about conjured up pride, but also scarcity of the ability to do so. And if they have this thing every year, you're going to see people opting out in 2 or 3 years. It's special right now, though, and that doesn't diminish what tonight is, which is going to be awesome.
No, it will be awesome, and it will be intense, and it'll be a lot of fun, and hopefully, obviously, we are able to prevail again. We'll see. But I
did, better team.
I did sit back. Well, but we're banged up, so we'll see.
That is true.
We're really banged up.
Constructed to win a game, top to bottom, you've got variety of players, and you got the better goalie.
Yeah,
He's the best goalie in the world.
I was going to say he's the best goalie in the world right now. So, that helps. It goes a long way. That said, I did think as I was watching on that Saturday night, and I loved it. It was riveting. Man, they're not going to be able to keep this up. There's no way, guys. Hockey is brutal. These guys are already beat to hell at the end of every season going into the playoffs. At the end of every playoff run for any team, you're left with mouth agape if you study your team, and God forbid you're the one who actually wins the whole thing. When it's all done and you get the list of who was playing with what, this is one of the reasons that people admire hockey players so much is, so-and-so was playing with a broken right leg. Was he really? Good Lord. Yeah, he goes into surgery tomorrow. So-and-so had a wrist shattered. You're like, what? Yeah, so that kind of stuff plays out, but you're not going to do that when you have, your day-to-day job, the season to finish, and the playoffs to go through with this level of intensity in between. Yeah, you're right. It is not sustainable, but it is enjoyable right now, without question.
And what is sustainable for now is the USA's ability to compete. Because if you look at World Junior,
we're killing them.
Right. Exactly. We won the last 2.
Yes, killing them.
In the last 10 years, Canada has 5 golds. We have 4. You wouldn't think that just if you're saying who's better at hockey, Canada or the United States. No, the USA is caught up. They don't have the best players. They've got some of the best, but they don't have the Connor McDavids of the world. But they've got a lot of players now. And that's what makes this really interesting, because then also Sweden's not bad either. By the slimmest of margins, they're not in the final here.
No.
If they could make it to 5 nations and get Russia in this thing, this is one where I would want Russia most certainly to be able to compete. You could call them whatever you want. If you want to do the IOC thing that they do for the Olympics, they're also incredibly talented.
Yeah, but again, you're talking about having an in-season tournament that is massively intense or majorly intense that I don't think that guys are going to be franchises, managers, clubs, owners. They're going to, no, man, we're not doing this.
Well, once they play in 2 or 3 of them and they win a gold once or twice, then it's like, okay, let's turn it over to the next guy. That's what it's going to be. But not right now. Tonight, that's going to do for hockey. That's going to do incredible numbers. I'm going to guess 8 million, maybe 9 million if the game's close.
Well, it did over 4 million on the Saturday night, which was the most watched hockey game of match of the year by far. Wasn't even close. It will do much bigger than that tonight. You're right. By the way, in Canada, it will do Super Bowl numbers.
Oh, for sure.
In Canada, it will do Super Bowl numbers. And the other thing I wanted to mention, even if you're not a hockey fan, do yourself a favor and go look up Mike Lang. 46 years, the voice of the Penguins. Passed away yesterday at the age of 76. You don't have to care anything about the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is just more about a legend of hockey. How amazing it is that, my guy was already in the Hockey Hall of Fame way back in 2021 before he retired, which is incredible to think about. But you've heard, I'm sure, famously had some of the greatest sayings and quips and calls in NHL hockey history. He's smiling like a butcher's dog. Get in the fast lane, Grandma. Bingo's ready to roll. Buy that man a drink and his dog too. He also famously said, Lord Stanley, get me the brandy after the Penguins won the Stanley Cup. He was hilarious and scratched my back with a hacksaw, shaved my face with a rusty razor, any number of just quips throughout any hockey game you were watching with Pittsburgh. And that I think you can go online. I remember watching a YouTube video for like 15 minutes of things that he said over 40 plus years of broadcasting, some of which you couldn't say now, and some of which were so absurd you had to stop, pause, think, what? Oh, that's funny. Okay. It would take a minute, but he passed away, dies at 76. It is an awfully cool thing, methinks, to have a legacy in which when you die, people crack up, not at your death, but the mere thought of the things that you said. So may Mike Lang rest in peace. Dying at 76, 46 years, the voice of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Reports of a drive-by shooting near Tallahassee State College's History and Social Sciences building prompted alerts and left students shaken up. According to a spokesperson, the call came in just after 10 Wednesday morning. TSC police confirmed a person fired shots toward the HSS building, then sped off down West Pensacola Street. About an hour and a half later, the university announced that the area was safe. According to authorities, no one was injured and no property was damaged. TSC Police Chief Sean McGovern stated that situations like this are rare for the college, and their top priority is keeping the campus secure. He said there will be a large police presence on campus over the next few days as the investigation continues. The university was not placed on lockdown, but an emergency alert was sent out to all students, staff, and other employees. Police ask that anyone with information to call TPD at 850-201-6100. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. High of 51 this afternoon under mainly sunny skies. North winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Lows around 31 tonight. Clear skies. Highs around 52 tomorrow. A mix of clouds and sunshine and dry. Saturday and Sunday, low 60s. Saturday, mid 60s by Sunday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 49 degrees.
Your friendly neighborhood bar and grill just got a whole lot closer to home. You can now order delicious Smitty's Tap House and Grill for delivery directly to your doorstep. Just visit Smitty'sTapHouse.com, click the Order Online button, and choose pickup or delivery. Enjoy Smitty's famous handmade pretzel with beer cheese, juicy pub burger, or even the amazing schnitzel sandwich, delivered fresh right to your doorstep. Support local and order online today for takeout or delivery at Smitty'sTapHouse.com, where everybody knows his name.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti, right?
Yep,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And,
I've never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe in
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I don't know how I didn't notice that, Tom, but during the break saw there, that's a 5 o'clock happy hour first pitch tomorrow.
Yeah, that's nice. Early season, I'm all for it. I'm sure if you work in the north side of town, you say, no, hell's wrong with you? I got to get from Killearn all the way down there, and I need to cut out of work that early. There's a point at which it becomes too noticeable. If it was a 6 o'clock first pitch, you cut out there at 4:30, no problem. But if you're working in Golden Eagle up by you in Georgia, you might need to leave the office at 3:40.
I'll have you know that is a very developed area these days. From the time that I first moved there to where I am now, it's booming.
That is true.
It's booming.
But you do want the time to be able to arrive there, set up an outdoor chair, open a cooler, enjoy a beer. I mean, you don't want to just get there to walk into the game. That's crazy person talk.
That is correct. No. And for those of you that have that opportunity, you are set. The happy hour first pitch tomorrow at Dick Hauser against Penn. I saw two things baseball related that I wanted to bring to the show today that, I made reference to it yesterday and I failed.
I was going to say, quick note. We have it right on the graphic, but they did change the game time for Sunday to 1 o'clock from noon.
Yeah.
So just for everybody out there, in case you're going to the Sunday game, you can get there early if you want, but it's now 1 p.m. first pitch, not noon.
Well, on that note, with the temperatures dipping below freezing tonight, I have told everybody on this show many times over that I'm a seasonal guy. And damn it, man, I had flipped the switch. We had moved on. I was in spring mode. I was already, I love cold weather, but I had already moved on. I was like, oh, great, 60-degree days, extra sunlight. Let's go. Time to do a lot of golfing. Time to enjoy this while we can. All of a sudden, that front came through. And they told me it's going to be below 32 tonight. I don't know about all that. It is February, and it's perfectly within winter's rights to do so, but okay.
I'm okay with it. There was a day last week, raw temperature 91, heat index 96.
Where? Oh, in Orlando.
Yes.
Yeah, not here. We didn't have anything.
91 raw temps.
That's crazy. We didn't have anything close to that here. It was beautiful. It was in the 60s. Yeah, Orlando good.
Flip that first digit upside down.
Yeah, that wasn't going to get it done.
Hurtful.
But I mentioned that there's dread about something that is way down the line, so I won't spend too much time on it. But baseball is doing so well for itself right now, and then they're going to screw this up. Rob Manfred said that he thinks the offseason lockout following the expiration of the current collective bargaining agreement could be a good thing. Now, even if you think that, don't say that publicly, dumb ass. But he did. A positive in that it creates leverage and urgency. Only a hardened labor lawyer who has never seemed to care about actual baseball games being played could believe what he said, in my opinion, but he did. That's what he had to say. MLBPA Executive Director Tony Clark had this to say in response. He was doing his annual tour of spring training camps, and Bob Nightingale of the USA Today, who's covered baseball well for quite some time, said, your thoughts on the commissioner thinking that it's a good idea to celebrate the impending doom that will ruin the momentum for baseball when this collective bargaining agreement runs out? And he said, when the commissioner suggests openly that the expectation is a work stoppage and that a lockout is the new norm, or should be considered as much, that's going to lend itself to some conversation, even though we're a year and a half out from the expiration of the agreement. We'll continue to talk about it openly, too. It'll be an environment where the game seems to be moving forward positively, while the other side keeps interjecting negativity into the conversation whenever asked. We'll navigate it accordingly. For now, we should celebrate the good things that are happening in baseball. Agreed. Agreed. Yes.
Quick side note, following Nightingale on Twitter is a fun experience because he is apt to making giant mistakes with at least punctuation and or sentence structure and maybe mixing up names of players when he's reporting on it. He's got a list. And so people call him Boob Nightingale when that happens.
Oh,
and
that's nice.
Oh, geez, Boob, what are you doing? And it's its own thing. So if you want some entertainment value,
that's funny.
Follow Bob Nightingale for the Boob tweets.
The second story is one that I had never heard about, had no idea about, and was kind of blown away by. So here you go. Did you know that Barry Bonds, yes, that Barry Bonds, was an avid cyclist?
No.
Oh, he is. And not only is he, he's
kind of fitting.
Well, not only is he, see what you did there. Not only is he an avid cyclist, he's a badass cyclist. Like, not just like, I like to ride on the weekends, man. This guy's obsessed. The SanFranciscoGate.com wrote the story that I read this morning and went, what? So he's breaking records in cycling. This is dumb.
Really?
Yes.
Breaking records?
Well, hold on. He's logged into something. Now, you cyclists are a unique bunch. It's like long-distance runners. You're very similar. You're part of a cult.
Got the special pants.
Unfortunate for the rest of us who drive past you. But you also belong to the groups and you do the things together and all that. Nothing wrong with it. It's a hardy endeavor indeed. I admire the mental fortitude it takes to do such a thing. I, for one, can barely get through my Orange Theory workouts if they're involving long distance running. I hate running. I make myself do it because I don't like to do it, but I don't do it to the extent that these folks do it. And I certainly am not cycling anywhere.
One of my favorite things is to get into Landsbrook. You have to, the entrance has the Pinellas Trail connected to it. There's a giant bike trail. And it was my favorite. Anytime my dad would be turning in, and it's not a light, so it's just one of those median turns. And there they come. The cyclists.
Taking up all the space.
And we'd be waiting for 4 minutes, 5 minutes for them to clear the Pinellas Trail. And he'd see them coming and he'd go, for God's sake, every time.
Oh, yeah.
Because it doesn't end.
They're thinking they're out there running the Tour de France. So here you go. There is an account that you have if you're a cyclist, I guess, that you log into something called Strava. Right now, bike enthusiasts are like, okay, yes, that's it. I'm on Strava, Jeff. Anyhow, he was an extremely early adopter, and he is apparently on the bleeding edge of users. He's insane. Here you go. The statistics on his account over the time since he joined, which was early on in 2010, are as mind-bending, this is from the article directly now, as mind-bending as some of his on-field accomplishments in baseball. Since he began tracking his bike rides, he has spent more than 150 days cycling and has covered enough mileage to circle the world twice over. And still have 3,700 miles extra. When Bonds was 53, he covered a 0.27 mile stretch of road in Mill Valley in 31 seconds, tying the fastest time recorded out of more than 120,000 attempts by 22,000 different people. At 58, he posted the sixth fastest time for a mile stretch along Shoreline Highway in Tamaulipas Valley, a ride that's been attempted nearly 400,000 times. 6 weeks after he turned 59, Bonds posted the fastest time ever on a mile portion of Mill Valley's Blithedale Avenue that starts from Highway 101 and ends just short of Camino Alto. He covered it in 69 seconds. He's since been passed for the top spot by 2 seconds, but remains in second place out of more than 80,000 riders who've attempted the same. So where this is, I looked it up on Google Earth because it was starting to bother me. I don't know these roads, Tom. I don't know how the terrain affects all of these rides. So I pulled it up. And it's Marin County, California. And this is apparently what I found is a honeypot for pro cyclists. They love going to this area. This is where they roll. So the fact that so many pro cyclists use this area to train, and he's either one or two in three of the different spots, and he is not a professional cyclist, is insane. So I guess what you could deduce, and a couple of writers have in pointing this out, is that what got overlooked during the PED usage and at the end of his career, it kind of blurred the lines between whatever that was, right? But also that he was known for being a psychotic worker at his craft. And now that he's no longer playing baseball, he's become a psychotic worker at his craft, which is apparently all day, every day cycling. That's what he does. You want to know what Barry Bonds is up to? He's cycling his ass off somewhere and putting in his numbers on Strava.
He could be listening. You need a lot of podcasts if you're going to be cycling the world twice over.
With plenty of room to spare, 3,700 plus more miles to spare afterwards. He's number 2 out of 80,000 different attempts.
Hello, number 2.
That's insane.
I'm assuming that's all age groups too?
I have no idea. I've never been on this thing called Strava. I wouldn't know what it means to bike quickly anywhere. That's something, man. To have that many people and to be able to do that, whew.
If you had to run every day for the rest of your life or cycle every day for the rest of your life, which one would you choose?
Depends on the distance. It depends on the distance.
What's the cutoff? 5 miles?
So I've got a situation where I do two different things now for my workouts. One of them is Orange Theory. One of them is just a normal gym related thing. Okay. But one of the things when I'm not doing Orange Theory on that day, in order to get my heart rate up beyond just doing weights, I sprint up a hill because it cuts the time in half that I have to run. So I'd rather be in agony for 10 to 15 minutes than just to be pissed off for 30 to 40 while running on a flat surface. So instead of running a flat surface, I put it up to like 6, and I put it at a speed that I know is going to get my heart rate way up, and I just gun it. And I tell myself to shut up and deal with it because it's just 15 minutes and I'm done. And I'm going home, and you can't make me run anymore. That's the way I think about it. And I blast music in my ears, and people think I'm crazy. And then I just, and then I'm done, and I turn it off, and I wipe my face, I wipe down the machine, and I get in the car, and I go home. That's the end of it. And I'm not running anywhere else the rest of the day.
Do you scream like John Goodman and Barton Fink for that period of time?
In the hallway with the fire? No, I don't do any of that. No, I don't do that. But I have figured out that's what I have to do. It's not the same as the interval training that you do when you're at Orange Theory. That's different because that's the up and the down, and you got a chance to rest, and you can walk it off in between. That's different. That's a different mindset. But when you're just like, if say you're at the gym and you're doing whatever, it's chest day or something, and you do that, and then you want to get your cardio in, I figured it out. I will cheat. I know what's going to happen. If I try to run for 30 minutes or 35, 40 minutes or something, I'm never going to do it. Never going to do it. It's not going to happen. I pick like 5 songs that I really want to hear, usually intense songs. And I'm like, here we go. Knock it out, Cameron. It's 15 minutes. And it's not because of, there's no mental toughness involved in that. It's not like impressive. It's that I hate running, and this is the easiest way to get done running in a much shorter period of time. I admire it. You hear people talk about, I know there are listeners right now who can tell me that they have experienced runner's high. I think that's a lie, but they say it all the time. Oh, yeah. Afterwards, after you're done, you feel that high, that release of endorphins. Afterwards, when you're like, oh, man, do I feel good that I did that? My whole body, I've sweated whatever out. I feel great, but not during.
In middle school and high school, I didn't do cross country for a team, but I was a part of like a circuit where you do a lot of 5Ks and 10Ks. I did do that for about a 2-3 year period. There were times when it felt like you didn't feel your legs moving. Like you just
felt like a machine, like a pistons were working. Yes.
You felt the mechanics of the machine, but you actually didn't feel anything more than maybe your foot touched the pavement. I don't know if that's runner's high or not, but it was pretty cool because you could break into 5th gear in mile 4 or mile 5, and then you were just going. But I didn't stick with it.
I got to tell you, I've never felt anything close to that. I've always been like, this sucks. My brain immediately goes there. It's as soon as I start running, it's like, why are we doing this? What are we doing this for? There's no reason to do this. Nothing's chasing you. Why don't we go home? That's I can hear it. I mean, you get things in your mind's eye. When I used to be addicted to nicotine and dip, I would always see a dip can when I drove past any of the gas stations where I could buy dip. And it lasted for years. That's how strong addiction is. I would just even after I had stopped and it had been a couple of years, I could drive past someplace on Monroe and be like, I could pull in there and get a dip. And I wouldn't. I'd keep going.
Many people on Monroe have had that same thought over the years. Yes.
But I just kept going. Eventually I figured out how to just keep going. But that's the way my mind works when I'm running, is it's the first thing that it says to me is like, this is dumb.
What was the name of your favorite convenience store woman? Or was it the drugstore?
Hoda.
Hoda?
It was not Hoda. I think it was Hoda.
I thought it was like, oh, well, I'm not going to say because I can
say
it.
She's
started with a D.
Was it? Well, Matt Millard
would know.
He would remember. I thought it was Hoda. Maybe it was.
It was something like Dagbar, something like that.
Maybe it was Dagbar.
It was a weird name, and I thought for years because you guys would mention Dagbar.
Maybe it was Dagbar. You're right. Maybe I don't know why I thought Hoda. Maybe it was Dagbar.
What kind of insensitive, name calling is it? Like, no, that's their name. The person's name is
Dagbar. That sounds right, Tom. It's been so long. I'm terrible about these things. I can't remember if that is accurate or not, but I do. Oh, man. By the way, the new golf is coming out. The 2K.
Oh, yeah, 25.
Finally.
Yeah, I know it.
Well, you can pick it up at Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600s over there. Of course, they've got all the PS5s, but they also got the PS4s, PS3s, and 2s, and all the other assortment of consoles, you name it. They have in television. I've mentioned it before in the old commercial that I used to do for Games for Less.
When does it come out? Next month?
Yeah, in a few weeks, actually, a couple weeks.
So then for us, like 10 days?
Yeah, well, he'll give us the wink, wink, nod, nod that
Love
he
it.
may or may not have it in early. So we'll be good to go. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachian Parkway. I would tell you that George is great people and he's local. You can buy your games from a lot of different places, but he's the one that is local, and I would suggest doing that. We love supporting local, and also I like to tangibly hold the games. Plus, when you go in there, they sell records now, and I get lost like I used to do in the mall back in the day at record stores, just going through, leafing through all the records. He's got a wide variety. It's good. It's not just nonsense. It's like, oh, look at that.
You're on the clock this year. You're supposed to be getting your setup.
I get told that by him, now you, and then guess what happened over the weekend?
You told me to remind you of that.
And you did the right thing. Yeah. And Bryce bought a record over the weekend. He's like, Dad, when we get into that record point, I'm like, okay, it's happening. I did price out the Morants that I wanted over the weekend. Bubba, it's $3,000 if you do it right.
Paging Z-Chan.
Final hour forthcoming. Stay with.
Perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's PBR Tallahassee at Donald L. Tucker Civic Center, March 14th and 15th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
222-7722. AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722.
Is your home ready for anything? At Parker Services AC and Electrical, we do more than just keep you cool. We keep your whole home running smoothly. From AC maintenance and duct cleanings to whole home generator installations, we've got everything you need for comfort and reliability. Join our Peak Performance membership to keep your HVAC system in top shape and catch issues before they turn into costly repairs. And with a reliable generator, you'll never be left in the dark again. Call Parker Services today, where comfort is just a call away. Model license number CMC 050334 and EC 1301240.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
Hey, everybody, it's Ed Dean along with Roger Henderson, also with FloridaDaily.com. Just want to remind you, daily 4 to 6 in the afternoons right here in Tallahassee on Real Talk 93.3 FM. Roger, it is literally the 2 fastest hours anywhere in afternoon talk radio.
And if you think the country's going crazy, we'll help you make sense of it all.
Oh, yeah, we'll try to make some sense of it. Again, Monday through Friday in the afternoons, Ed Dean, Roger Henderson on 93.3.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
WVFD, Gretna, Tallahassee.
This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas. Brought to you by Palmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee.
Achebe T 14-1 to win the Mexico Open this week of the PGA Tour. Rasmus Hoagland 18-1, Kurt Kitayama 20-1, Samuel Stevens 22-1. Ryan Blaney, the 8-1 favorite, and when this week's Ambetter held 400 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Chevrolet, the favorite manufacturer, at plus 135. The United States minus 108 against Canada minus 112 today in the Four Nations face-off final at the TD Garden in Boston. The total there 5.5, shaded to the under. Jacksonville, a 1.5 favorite at North Florida in college basketball today. 157.5 the total at UNF Arena. $250 bonus and you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid in a combo or in third-party delivery platform.
When it comes to protecting my family's future, I want a life insurance company that's at the top of their game. That's why I got same-day coverage through Ethos. There was no paperwork, no waiting around, and no medical exam. I just answered a few health questions online, and Ethos set me up with a $3 million policy for about $2 a day. Go to tryethos.com and get it done today. That's TRYETHOS.com. TRYETHOS.com. Sample rates is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
What makes Paul's Termite and Pest Control the best in North Florida?
It's our core values, of course, and they happen to spell Paul's.
P, protecting you and your pets from pests and your property from termites.
A, accept personal responsibility. At Paul's, we realize it's up to us to get things right and strive to do more than's expected.
U, uphold company values. Those values include treating others with respect and understanding we represent Paul's Pest Control on and off the clock.
L, look the part. As representatives of this great company, we will always make sure that our image matches the character of Paul's.
S, support the team. Every job we do is a total team effort to create a supportive workplace.
P, protecting you, your pets, and your property. A, accept personal responsibility. U, uphold company values. L, look the part. S, support the team. Paul's core values. They make us the best.
For the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Welcome, John, our new admin lead.
Thanks.
You've got your laptop, all your admin apps. Oh, and you'll be in charge of ordering food for the team. So here's your drawer full of menus.
Whoa.
You'll keep your receipts in this file folder. Whoops, receipt confetti.
Oh, dear.
Oh, and all these sticky notes have everyone's dietary preferences.
Have you tried Easy Cater? Online ordering from great restaurants, tools to save time and stay on budget, digital receipts in one place.
We're going to need a bigger recycling bin.
Easy Cater, the smarter, simpler way to order food for your workplace. Order now at easycater.com.
Live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And, man, we've almost made it. Tomorrow, a Libations Friday, buddy. And a home baseball series, which is nice just to get to the ballpark, smell the grass, hear the sounds, do all the things. Got the wagering down, by the way, for the weekend in the Mexico Open there. I'm set, Tom. I actually like that course. I like that tournament. But somebody asked me before, hey, who you got? And I have a bunch of different ones, but I'll give you one. Just you guys follow along. Let's see if Michael Kim does anything today. Alex Smalley, Jake Knapp, former winner there, Nicholas Hogard, Eric Van Ruin, and what's his name, Rosner. You got to take flyers in this tournament. It's a weird tournament.
This one got relegated. Many got elevated to the hell do they call it? Designated
elevated
status.
Event?
Yeah, designated events.
Mm-hmm.
This one used to be guaranteed 4 rounds, and it was a WGC. And that demanded that you were going to get the best players in the world. And now it's like, the Hogards of the world are going to be there.
Yeah, hasn't Finau won this, and Rahm and some others? Yeah, so you're right.
Tiger contended in his
many moons
comeback
ago. Yeah.
JT had a great time. Rahm won in a playoff, I think, not that long ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They had to go to the par 3. It might have been Finau beat Rahm. It could be that, but I remember that. Yeah, cool course if it's the same one.
I'll tell you a quote I like, which is that this has nothing to do with golf, but Kevin Wynn bringing power promise to Florida State, article from Corey Clark in which, quote, unquote, country boy strong. All right. Country strong sounds good, and he looks the part in the uniform and the shirt.
Yeah, good interview today. That's available on the channel. A little over 10 minutes worth of stuff. Everything from his mindset to Coach Odell Hagen's role and him sticking to Florida State, even though Odell was taken off of the field. He looks the part. And actually, the best part to me was him talking about his All-American game after his high school career was over, and he had to be pulled off the field so they could run their stuff like that. And he goes, that's how it goes sometimes. I guess if you're that gifted, that's how it goes sometimes, Mr. Wynn.
The exact quote, I had to get sat out because nobody could get plays off. I was like, hey, this is how it goes. I came out there to ball for real. I like it. Just letting the people know, let the world know that I'm coming to play. Okay. We will welcome you, sir. And yeah, it is cool that, longtime defensive line coach and Florida State legend Odell Hagen's played such an integral role in him sticking with the Noles. He's started to bond with Terrence Knight, and he admitted as much. But, man, he had a lot of good things to say about Odell Hagen, so that's cool. You and I suggested that Odell Hagen's sticking around in some capacity, even in a sort of fatherly manner, could serve this program very, very well. I mean, he has a way about him that kids gravitate towards, and certainly his resume is exceptional as a player and as a coach. So you're going to look up to him for what he did as a player. You're going to look up to him for the career that he had in the game. And so, seeking that kind of advice from a fatherly figure is a good thing to have around while you have you can play good cop, bad cop in that situation.
Yeah, sure. I look forward to seeing how or hearing about how the Terrence Knight and Odell Hagen's relationship actually presents itself to young players on the roster. Could it be that T Knight's the bad guy? Because Odell was not an easy guy to practice for.
He could be tough, man.
And then Odell is the grandfather that hugs the kid and loves the kid. What a different role that would be for him. But he's somebody you look up to, and he's a check and a balance in all facets. I really believe that. I don't think that's just Mike Norvell's coach speak stuff where he says in all aspects of what we do. No, when there's a crisis or an important discussion to be had, that Mike can sit in a small council with Gus Malzahn and Odell Hagens and Tony White. That's a nice small council. At Chris Thompson, who's been a mentor of his. Okay, you've got people who can handle big picture questions in real time. Odell being a part of this process is still very important.
On the college football news front, another big-time program canceling their spring game. It's not a surprise, but Texas has said, yeah, we're not going to have one. We're not going to have a spring game, quote, unquote, Steve Sarkisian. He went on to explain that they're taking a different approach to the off-season training program. said he compared it to OTAs, compared it to the NFL. It's going to be a little different than the normal approach. Now, Southern Cal canceled their own spring game. That is also true, as we know, Matt Rule did at Nebraska. There are schools like Ohio State that are changing their format, perhaps canceling their game. It's been kind of discussed before. Obviously, Florida State's not having their spring game for very different reasons involving the construction at Florida State. But also, I think they were welcome. They were happy to cancel that game. I think there was a lot going on there that goes above and beyond the construction situation. I think implementing a new offense, implementing a new defense, and by the way, just not really wanting to expose your players to other programs that are willing to swoop in and tamper and take your guys. It's what's going on. That's what Matt Rule cited. Just another change in college football that I think most people will not embrace. I've never cared all that much about spring games. It was more about the festivities surrounding spring games. Basically, once they stopped playing an actual game and stop hitting and stop really, playing for keeps, the spring game was boring. I had a blast as a guest coach. It was fun. There were things that I liked about being down on the field to see the way that the interaction went and the way that the communications went. That was cool. But, I could see where if you're in the stands of a game like that, it's just kind of like, it's really about getting together with people, hanging out with the folks that you normally do in the fall. And it's a bridging of the gap in the off season.
It had a different angle to it or intensity to it if you had a quarterback battle, because even if they weren't live, that's a big deal. And or if you had an influx of new freshmen or transfers that you really wanted to see.
Yeah, you eagerly wanted to see guys that could fly and stuff like that. Yeah.
So this year for Florida State, there still would have been plenty of intrigue, but the format is limited, so you can only learn so much. I'll be interested to see about the future of it. I'm also interested to see, again, not trying to will something bad into existence here, but I just want to see, our practice policy still going to be good, or is this something that, is contagious amongst the coaching community?
I'd leave it alone, Tom.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bring it up much more. Now, listen, our policy, the policy that Mike Norvell has had since he arrived, was different than most other policies all around the country.
That's
and
true.
So that, he didn't care before. I'm certainly hoping that he doesn't care now. I will say this, man. I have had any number of critiques over the last year or so of Mike Norvell with the season we just went through, but I've always said he was upstanding. He was a man of his word. He's treated us well in the media, even in the midst of some pretty dark times going 2-10, or before the two successful seasons. He was solid as a rock. It's not just this 1 year. And I do think he's proud of the way that he coaches them at practice and the way that those guys develop. I know last year was a disaster, but I don't think it would cause him to just say, I'm shutting it down. I hope not. I hope not. Because that's not the reason they went 2-10, I promise you.
No, of course not. It just would be the other coaches who have ideas might influence the discussion. We'll see. There's still plenty. Hey, you could just say, we were so wrong last year, we don't even know what we're looking at. So who cares what we report on, right? Just let us see.
Yeah, well, listen, you could argue that the media basically did Mike's bidding last year in camp because he spoke glowingly of the product that he had, and we all believed it. Mike couldn't turn that on us. We were quoting him.
Well, then we can provide the perfect cover. Whatever you say, Coach. We got you. It's just that practice didn't look totally like 2-10 looked.
Because it wasn't the sole reason. There was a confluence of events that led to that season. So it wasn't a singular thing. I've been critical, even in the midst of their successes, of the lack of intensity at those practices in terms of tackling. I think you got to tackle to be a good tackling team. I think if you want to be physical, you got to be physical in practice.
That's another one that Pritchard, who spoke today, Ethan Pritchard, linebacker, newcomer for Florida State, was talking about Tony White's attitude. You can add it to the list. It's going to be an extremely aggressive defense. He wants to bring pressure from all parts of the field. He has, Pritchard does, a background as a safety in high school, being converted to linebacker, but he's got the weight. You can see the frame. It's made to be one of those hybrid type, but linebacker type bodies. And there's another guy who's saying that it's going to be about attacking and playing aggressive.
I desperately want to see, talked about it, get excited about, thinking about it, really. How do you accomplish that? How do you do it? How do you create that sort of intensity and an atmosphere at a practice while not crossing that line into getting guys? You know, the first time that you lose a player of any significance because they've elevated the amount of time or the amount of times total that they hit in practice, people are going to say, well, this is a bad idea. But people get hurt, non-contact injuries all the time. We lost one of our best receivers last year, and now he's not a part of the program, to a non-contact injury. We lost Hakeem to start the season for a few games and a non-contact injury. Most of the ACLs and ankles and things of that ilk are happening when guys are cutting or turning. It has not been while tackling. So I would maintain a lot of these guys get hurt without contact. You might as well hit. And I also think that the goals that these coaches have, coupled with the mentality that it creates and the toughness that it requires, helps forge the team that you want to be consistently every Saturday, week in, week out, home or away. And if along the way it means that a guy separates a shoulder and misses a game or two more than he would have, or you have a problem where somebody does get hurt on a tackle, that's the price you pay for the goal, for the overall goal, for the team mentality and toughness that you're trying to create. I'm willing to do that. And it sucks if it happens to be a key player, but you lost key players without hitting last year.
Oh, well, and then the year before, I mean, shoot, how many key players were, especially on offense, were banged up? So we've had awful injury luck. Without the procedures, you may as well bring on these new physical procedures. I agree with you. 2023's offense, we lamented how inefficient it was for long stretches of time. You can't ignore injury in that discussion, though, because if they were all healthy or something close to it, then that offense would have been as explosive as it was against LSU. It would have been so multifaceted and dangerous. Instead, I mean, you got like two receivers that are 100% against Pitt. Your line's banged up like crazy. Jaheim Bell is hardly himself after game 2 or 3 in the season. It just was one after the next. And it wasn't because they were going physical in practice.
That was so frustrating, by the way. Jaheim Bell is one of the guys we don't talk an awful lot about, but man, we should, because how good was he when he was healthy for the snapshot of time that he was healthy? Go back to the LSU game. Running over jokers, separating from people. You know, he was too fast for linebackers to cover, too big for, he was that problem. But man, that didn't last long. Once he got hurt, that was that. He was a shell of himself, just like that entire group.
We talk about Florida State and a backup quarterback. How competitive would they have been in the Invitational had they gotten the rightful place there? And that's a fun debate. But a more fun debate would be if that offense was healthy with Jordan Travis and the way that defense was playing, could we have won the national championship?
Oh,
absolutely.
Sure. Yeah. No,
absolutely.
No doubt. There's no doubt about that. As an advertiser on the Jeff Cameron Show, you have an exclusive offer from me and the guys at Tried and True Consulting. They are the best of the business. And as a Jeff Cameron Show advertiser, you get a free ad board for your business. That doesn't suck. You got to contact them in order to get this opportunity to be made whole and all that good stuff. They'll come in and make sure that you're set. 844-464-6653. That is 844-464-6653. 6 months of free ads at all the locations across Tallahassee. Discount advertising after that period ends, after the free period ends. If you have a TV, you get 1 year of ads for free at all of the other participating locations with their ad board program. It is really cool what they're doing for other businesses. This is Knowles helping Knowles, giving back 10% of their revenue to the battle's end. So if you're advertising with me or you want to, just know that what comes with that is this free ad board from my friends at Tried and True Consulting. To learn more, they will take that call and they will happily help out if you give them a ring today. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
only, February 21st through the 23rd. Area boat and motor buyers will save thousands at Mike's Marine and Houseboat Show in beautiful Panacea. This is the event you don't want to miss. Every Yamaha motor from 2.5 to massive 425 horsepower has special extra low pricing. Yamaha, new gear, new reliability. Check out the region's largest selection of the best boats, including Skier, Sea Hunt, Norvell, Tidewater, and G3s, inshore, offshore, river, or lake. Mike's Marine has a boat for you, and you will buy for less. Some boat packages discounted over $10,000. Save on all accessories, including electronics and trolley motors too. They've even dropped prices on all pre-owned inventory. Lenders will be on site providing instant credit approvals and easy financing options. Door prizes too. And while you're there, drop in on one of Pannacea's phenomenal seafood restaurants. Hours of the show are Friday and Saturday from 8 to 6 and Sunday from 10 to 4. The Mike's Marine in-house boat show, February 21st through the 23rd. Don't miss it.
Florida man, what's wrong this time?
Well, it's my alligator Hank again. It's so dang cold, he's been digging all these holes in my backyard trying to find some heat to keep himself warm. But he doesn't want to come out to eat, so I have to yank him by his tail. Now my back is killing me again.
Poor Hank. I'm really sorry about your back pain.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to pull an alligator out of his heat hole when it's colder than a polar bear's toenails outside? Not to mention the added weight of the gold chain I bought Hank last year for his birthday.
Well, it's time to get you back in to see the doctors at Finn Chiropractic. You can book your appointment online, so there's no waiting in the cold.
You're right again. Look out, Dr. Finn, I'm coming in hot.
At Finn Chiropractic, they'll get to the root of your pain and deliver the solutions. Book your appointment online at finnchiro.com, and you'll even get an online discount. Visit finnchiro.com today and find your path to a pain-free tomorrow.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students. Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I wouldn't root for this, but it kind of made me chuckle a little bit. Carson Beck and his girlfriend have had their car stolen down in Miami. Tell me that doesn't make you chuckle a little bit. Carson Beck and Hannah Cavender had multiple cars stolen overnight. I guess her SUV. And they're looking for Carson's Lamborghini. What a time we live in. A man's playing college football, has got a Lamborghini. It's been stolen. He had a Mercedes SUV. It's been stolen. And there was another car that was stolen there too. So that three different vehicles. See, I root for, and I don't want anybody to get hurt, but I do root for, like, whenever an NFL player, a Major League Baseball player, NBA player, any professional athlete, whenever they do something really dumb and they get ganked, I chuckle a little bit as long as nobody was hurt. And I don't chuckle if it's like a sentimental item. But if it's something that is absurd, like you're wearing a $420,000 necklace and it gets ripped off your neck and somebody just runs down the street away from you, I chuckle at those articles. I'll laugh. I'm like, ha, you dumbass who walks outside wearing a $420,000 necklace. It shouldn't happen, but it does. Why not be a dumbass? I mean, what are you doing? He didn't invite this, but my man, you got 3 cars still in college? Chill. Anyhow, they found one of them. We'll see if they find the rest. Cool deal. He's making just over $3 million to transfer to Miami. That's not a ton. If you're making just over $3 million, I'm not buying a Lambo.
There are some reports that it's upwards of 6 if you combine it with everything that he's making. You know, Miami's obviously paying a big portion, but then all the other deals he has. And then, of course, the Cavender twins make a lot of money themselves as well.
Sure.
Yeah,
I don't even know who they are.
I'm sure that he made a couple of bucks at Georgia before his time at Georgia was up as well.
He's not broke, and he won't be broke. I'm just, he's not going to, he'll get a new car if he has to. I'm sure it was insured, but I'm just kind of curious. I tell you what, though, man, it is interesting. It hasn't happened yet here. There's a number. There is. There's a magic number in most fans' heads about where it can be illogical, but like where tolerance ends. What I mean about that is if your starting quarterback is making $600,000, you're like, oh, okay. Well, that's cool. Whatever. Let your starting quarterback be slightly above average while making $4 million a year, and there is no wiggle room before the boos rain down, I promise.
Hey, it happened last year. I was surprised at how many people kind of knew the ballpark where DJU was being compensated. But people knew. And you'd see it in the post-game chat. And then the next game, you'd see it in the post-game chat. And the next game, you'd see it in the post-game. $850K for this. And he could be off by 50 here or 100 there.
Yeah, the gloves are off with college football fans. There's no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
This has quickly gone to the NFL.
It used to be the head coaches, and it still is. How can he be making $10 million? It used to be. How could he be making $4 million?
Right. And this is we're 5-5 or whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Me too, because this is like what you've clamored for.
Yep.
You have fought for this and you've wanted this, but what comes with it are very real expectations and reactions to failure.
Stability and scrutiny. 1-to-1 ratio. Financial stability goes up, scrutiny goes up.
Yeah, I always think about, but there is, it's weird. It's different with everybody. I really feel like if you've got a quarterback and he's a good kid and working hard, doing his best, and he's making $400,000-500,000, people are like, well, that's within reason. He's a starting quarterback at a big-time school. That's cool. Let him go out there and make $3 or $4 million and suck. Ain't nothing cool about that interception. It's going to be ugly, and it'll happen with the quickness.
It could start very soon for that young man because he needs.
Well, he won't have to worry. Nobody's at the Miami games, but yes.
Notre Dame fans will be in week 1, their first game against Marcus Freeman and the Notre Dame defense. Goes 16-27 for $142, a touchdown and 2 picks. You'll hear about it because they'll run to social media quicker than they'll run to the box office to get a ticket.
Well, this is the thing I think about. Yes, these kids will now hear about. This is the byproduct of what we're talking about here, and I'm fine with it too. We said it when there were rumblings that this was where college football was headed, and I said, that's fine. I've always wanted players to be paid. I'm in the camp who thought it was ridiculous that a coach could come and go as he pleases, hold universities hostage, recruit kids, make all kinds of insane promises that in many cases it proved later on he could have never kept and knew he wasn't going to keep them. Leave while those kids are stuck, having to sit out a year if they try to leave right after he does, whatever it might be, right? I never liked any of that. So I was okay with some of these changes that have come to the game. But when we started talking about real money, like NFL money, and guys potentially getting $5, $6, $7 million to play quarterback in college, great. You're set for life if you know how to handle it, if you got somebody to manage it, and you're of sound mind. But just know the days of people like me doing a show or lead columnists or fans having pity on the collegiate athlete are over. It used to be that, hey, man, he's not a professional. You can't boo amateurs. Don't boo kids that are going to school that aren't even 21 years old. Oh, no, that's well past the time. Now, ugly, nasty, raining boos if you suck while making $3, $4, $5 million, and that's just the way it's got to be. And I'm okay with it.
Some kids will handle that with grace, and I don't mean the booing. I just mean the making of the money. They'll be humble about it. You wouldn't know it. And then some might be like Beck and his team, where they put out a social media post that says, I'm the most
well-paid collegiate athlete in the country
ever in history. Because that is something that most certainly
it's a strange flex
will be saved down and placed on social media sites a lot.
It was
a lot.
A strange flex too. I mean, you kind of read the room, my man.
Or agents of
yeah.
It doesn't matter now because it's on him. It's on him.
The part about who handles it well doesn't just apply to the humility of which you speak, where somebody might just say, okay, cool, man, I've changed me and my family's life forever, and this is the way the market works now in the sport, and I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity, and I'm going to go give Florida State my very best, and hopefully I'll succeed, and we'll win a bunch of games, and everybody will be happy with the arrangement. Some will do that, and they'll handle it well. Others will not, as you noted. But one of the things that I do worry about is how a 19-year-old or an 18-year-old handles the scrutiny that comes with the paycheck. And when you're just on college scholarship, it was tough enough, I think, when you were a high-profile recruit as a 4-star or a 5-star, especially if you were at a skill position, right, like a quarterback or receiver, running back, whatever it might be. I do wonder, like, the day you step foot on campus as $1 million man, $2 million, $3 million man, and things don't go really well early in your career, and you're 18 and you're away from home for the very first time in your life, there are all those difficult scenarios by which the average student suffers through and struggles to find themselves. Now imagine those weighty expectations and the vitriol that will come your way. And we never had to deal with social media. Didn't exist. There's no such thing. You might get a quip in the halls or in a classroom perhaps, but you weren't going to be bombarded with hatred the way that you would be now. It'll be fascinating to see. We're going to have some tough luck stories.
I think so. I think that if I had the connections and I had the startup cash, there's a space for this to create a curriculum that begins at the junior year of high school that prepares you as much as it possibly can. You're never going to prepare somebody fully for it. I don't think you can fold it into, say, an academy like IMG. I don't know that you could do that well enough. Might be able to, but outside of high school, pay X amount of dollars. Let's go through the curriculum. I'm going to connect you with young tennis stars and golf stars and soccer stars
that have had to deal with this, yeah.
Right. And just so you are mentally prepared, you could do a financial literacy wing to that particular curriculum as well. But that's going to be an industry. It has to be, because you can't go from 0 to 60 the way it is going right now. I understand that there's a window for high school players to start to make money now too. And so it's going to start earlier and earlier, but it won't. College is still going to have a lot of delineation because people aren't flocking to high school football on Friday nights in tens of millions.
No, right.
There really
Unless
is.
You're in Texas.
You're begging for an industry. Perhaps our friends at ISF might be able to help with the construction of such an industry, but a curriculum that helps people prepare.
I was about to say, Tom, you're solving for the future. You're over there solving for the future. I don't disagree with you, and I know of some people.
Jonathan's got some startup cash. Let's do it.
That you're talking about, by the way. I know people who do want to do those things. I've talked to those people. They tend to be former athletes who had a high expectations put upon them early on because they were a high-profile recruit or something like that, and then they went on to educate themselves. A couple of the guys I know went on to become lawyers and doctors. So, yeah.
Shoot, Dominic will talk about it.
Yeah.
He was highly recruited, then his son was recruited twice. Think he knows a thing or two about what to look out for? Absolutely.
Get you some qualified experts to help you out. That's what they do at ISF. They hire people with a depth of experience across government, public health, information technology, education, many other sectors. Those are the groups of people they're helping out on the regular because your work matters and it matters to them, and they collaborate with. They don't just tell you how. They want to hear your dreams, visions, the methodologies they use, well documented across 40 states, Tom, from right here in little old Tallahassee. How cool is that? ISF.com to learn more. Go to ISF.com to learn more. That was Solving for the Future. It's Jeff Cameron, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A woman was hurt after a collision caused her dump truck to overturn Wednesday. The incident began when a 52-year-old Quincy woman driving a fully loaded dump truck traveling westbound on Coastal Highway was following an empty dump truck driven by a 61-year-old man from Crawfordville. The empty dump truck turned off, but the fully loaded dump truck was following too close and tried to swerve, but still collided with the other dump truck, causing it to overturn. The Quincy woman was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. A man is in custody after fleeing a scene on a golf cart, spurring a multi-agency manhunt Wednesday afternoon in southeast Monticello. The situation unfolded at about 3 after deputies responded to a domestic violence call between a father and son. The fight between the pair led the son to flee on a golf cart. He later ditched the vehicle and headed into nearby woods on foot. Through the help of an FHB drone, officers were able to locate the man and arrested him. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
A cold end to the week clearing out and sunshine returns. Only a potential slight chance of rain late this weekend. Then a warm up next week when highs in the 70s return. Tonight, frost possible, otherwise clear, low of 27. Friday, frost possible early, sunny, high of 55, low of 34. Saturday, partly sunny with a high of 63. Sunday, slight chance of rain, partly sunny, high of 65. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly.
For the elimination of termites, pests, and for a greener lawn too, call Paul's. They'll get them all.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor, or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
After you use Bounce Dryer sheets and realize how fresh, soft, less wrinkled, and less staticky your laundry can be, you'll every time. Like those socks that smell like they've been through a marathon. Or that blanket that's got wrinkles on its wrinkles. Maybe even your chatty coworker who keeps distracting you. Okay, Bounce Dryer sheets can't do it all. But for fresher, softer, better laundry...
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Not surprising here, some things beginning to leak out about what the Big Ten and SEC would like to do. And we talked a lot about this yesterday, so I'm not getting into the subject of the automatic qualifiers, but this is one of the ones that I think a lot of us will agree on, and I was fine with this. Those two leagues, I think with some other support as well, do want to change college football's playoff seeding, and they want to get rid of the first-round buys for conference champs. And I'm all right with that. And they want to go by basically the whatever the ranking is. So you don't, you're not number 12, but you're a 4 seed because you're a conference champ. I'm fine with that. So there's something that I think we would agree on. Last year, had they done this, for example, Oregon would have had a bye. Then they would have drawn the winner of Indiana versus Boise State, which was 8 versus 9. They would not have played Ohio State, which I'm sure they would like to have avoided there. That might begin, this whole situation may very well begin when the Power 2 meet with the other FBS commissioners next week. They'll have a vote on that. So that could be coming sooner rather than later.
It's an interesting battleground, though, because of the subtext of what the Big Ten and the SEC are doing right now to dictate future terms. This is one place that if the other conference commissioners wanted to stand up and vote against them,
they could.
They have the numbers.
They do have the numbers.
So it doesn't mean that they might agree on it, other commissioners. They might say in principle, yeah, we see what you're doing. But if you want to pick a fight with them, here's a chance where you actually have the recourse to do something and maybe trade it for something else. I don't envision Jim Phillips has the foresight to do that, but maybe the others do. They might.
Looks like the SEC is moving closer to a 9-game schedule. Automatic bids could diminish concerns about losses over obviously damaging contenders, so they may end up doing that. No annual Big Ten SEC challenge just yet, although I think that should be something that we see in the not-too-distant future. I eventually, when this all shakes out, Tom's vision many years from now of all of us playing under the banner of the Super 2, regardless of who orchestrates that, ESPN or Fox or ESPN or the Big Ten, then at that point, by all means, have a 16-team playoff. 4 lost teams can get in, and let's cross-match. Let's go. Let's get after it. Let's have Florida State take on Oregon and, Ohio State take on Alabama and whatever.
It's interesting to me that the SEC is capitulating here and allowing for a 9th conference game. As I understood it, Greg Sankey did not want that to happen whatsoever.
Well, if you're going to argue for the 4 automatic qualifiers every year, regardless if your conference is down or not, you can go ahead and cede that.
You can, but would one be necessarily traded for the other? Do you have to give up an extra conference game of inventory in order to be given 4 auto bids? I wonder if something more is at play with Greg Sankey here, because it seems like Greg would most certainly like to be the commissioner of the future of the game.
Not going to happen.
In a higher position. I just wonder if he was conceded something, because he was holding on to that 9th game in exchange for something. I don't know that 4 auto bids was it, but it could be. Could be.
Well, I'm curious too, Tom, for the obvious reasons, but I would tell you that was universally panned and written about and spoken of yesterday. So the entire country scoffed at him and the Big Ten at this idea of stacking the deck yesterday. The national article after national article, pundits across the board, and of course, obviously, the other conference commissioners and FBS schools were all like, no, we're not doing that. This is terrible for the game. Now, they could just say, no, we are doing it, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I think you are setting up problems for yourself down the line if you pushed that through in the manner that they would without conceding something.
Correct. Unless you've got a life raft or a lifeboat, however you want to term it, waiting for you for the next gig. And so by the time that happens, that's somebody else's problem. I'm not saying that Greg is brilliant in all things, but I'm saying that he ain't dumb. He's not a dumb commissioner. I just wonder what he's got going on, because ESPN really wanted that 9th game, and the SEC said, well, fork over more cash for it.
Right.
So where is this coming from without the extra cash? What else are you getting?
Elsewhere in football news, not surprising here, but of interest, and this is where we're headed. I've said this before. Netflix had long held out of expensive sports rights wars. They didn't want to do it. That's now a changing stance, according to the company's CCO, showed interest in the NFL Sunday afternoon package. A deal like that would reshape the NFL's rights landscape and create an existential crisis for at least one television network. You can read about that several places today. Basically, what you have is Netflix sports strategy changing. It was built entirely on what it called big events. But 4 weeks after a fourth quarter earnings call in which it called the economics of full season rights in any sport, quote, extremely challenging, the streamer publicly showing interest in pursuing Sunday packages with the NFL, quote, I definitely want the Sunday afternoon games, quote, unquote. Netflix chief of content, Bella Bajaria, said that on a podcast. Bajaria was asked what package she would be interested in. Hey, now, when NFL media rights became available. The NFL's current rights deal, including the Sunday afternoon agreements with CBS and Fox, expire after the 2033 season. The league, however, has an opt-out for most of its individual agreements after the 29 season. So this could be coming to a head a little bit sooner. Provisions that it will very likely exercise, according to experts, particularly as it continues to draw record-setting audiences year over year. An opt-out in its ESPN deal follows after the 2030 season. Those comments show a rapid and stark contrast and pivot from those of the CEO at Netflix previously, Ted Sarandos, in January, when he told analysts that the company would continue to focus on just the big events, Christmas Day games, things of that ilk, WWE Raw, FIFA Women's World Cup in 2027, that kind of stuff. If there was a path where we could actually make the economics work for both us and the leagues, well, we would certainly explore it. But right now, we believe that the live events business is where we really want to be. What changed? Well, a few things. The Christmas Day NFL doubleheader averaged 24 million viewers. That is the largest for the NFL's largest ever streaming audience. Initial episodes of, like, say, Raw on Netflix show that you're getting an audience that's willing to steadily migrate from linear television over to pay. We talked about one day behind a paywall is where the Super Bowl will lie. Same for AFC Championship, NFC Championship. This is where it's happening. And given that they have a bunch of top 10 shows that rank that way across all platforms, people are paying to go watch whatever it is they'd like.
Well, yeah, again, I think that this is very easy from the PR firm standpoint. If you want to speak on this as Netflix or Hulu, isn't a cable package a paywall?
That's what you would say, yeah.
Right. I don't understand what people are saying about over-the-air television, but how many of us truly have antennas attached to the back of our television to capture the over-the-air signal?
Yeah, nobody.
Everybody's been watching the Super Bowl on behind a paywall for years. You just don't think of it that way.
Yeah, we don't think of it that way. That's correct. If you must know, are there any other pay services that are now stepping up their game? I will tell you that I came across not as widely a circulated story, Tom, but I figure our listeners need to know. If you have Roku, they've picked up the rights to the Bassmaster Championships.
Thank God. The old timers at Gordo's are going to be thrilled to hear about that. They're going to, how do I get this Roku?
They're all dead.
I know. It's sad.
They'll watch the Bassmaster Championships in the sky.
I know.
But
we did have to correct them back in that time. The original.
Frequently.
Yes. Hand me the remote. What are we doing?
Yeah. Well, first of all, they had it on non-HD channels on the regular. Right. That was always my favorite. I'd walk in and I'd go, what are we doing here? Nobody can see this. But, no, this is ESPN. I'm like, that's channel 8.
Yeah. First of all, if you're going to be watching Sun for Bassmaster, don't do it on 28. Let's go to 402.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Good Lord. Help yourselves.
Rest in peace, Skipper.
Yeah.
That old man, I would walk in, he'd be watching golf, and it was grainy.
How are you?
You couldn't see anything. I'm like, what are you watching? I'm watching the golf. Tigers get ready to tee off. You can't see that, Skipper. This is golf channel. That's not the golf. Give me the remote. What are you going to do? Look, isn't that better? Isn't that better? Yeah, what channel is that? I told you last week when I walked in here and you were watching this. Yeah, can we not do that? But Roku's got the Bassmaster rights. By the way, I got Roku in the back because it's an ancient TV that I refused to throw away. But it was one of the TVs that came out at the end of the no longer doesn't have the built-in capabilities of, you know, how any television you buy now has YouTube, has Netflix, has Amazon Prime, has everything in the television. It's wonderful. It's just in it. Like, look at that. We got everything. It's all right there. It's a little bit the way SiriusXM works with your new car. You get in, you've got SiriusXM. They're like, huh? What do you think? So all goes away in a month. All this joy that you feel in your heart as you go through your 80s on 8, it's gone. It's gone unless you call us right here, right now. Special offer. Here you go. $9.99 a month. Same thing goes with your new televisions that you buy. Pretty soon it'll be like, you want to watch the NFL? Tough luck. better sign up for the service in-house here for you if you want to watch the NFL.
I do have a tip for those of us that love to watch Florida State baseball.
Well, I watch it on ESPN Plus every night because I didn't get rid of my Hulu when I added YouTube. I'm an ass. I'm paying for every service under the sun.
Yes, you are. And that app typically is awful. The ESPN app.
It's doing well for me right now.
Okay. Well, I've got a solution. If you have the ESPN app to stream and you hate it and you wish it would die.
Me too. I do. It works, but I don't love it.
And then burn and die again.
Okay.
Disney Plus has folded in live sports into its app, and it is far smoother. Just discovered this.
But it's still on ESPN Plus. It
isn't. No, one does not replace the other in membership status, but your password travels from one app to the other, from Hulu to ESPN to Disney.
Yes.
What I'm saying is the tech side of the Disney Plus app is far smoother and superior. Fewer crashes. It doesn't lock up on you when you're trying to scroll from one thing to the other.
Okay.
They are dumping money into the Disney Plus app so that it can run all the Hulu things and it can run all the ESPN
because
Plus
the
things.
Hulu things will forever give you the lines.
I'm telling you.
Forever give you the lines.
The Disney Plus app is where the infrastructure is. This will make your scrolling and finding of games experience much, much better. Use that app instead.
Do you like what we just did there? Here we are in the same show, coming all the way back around to put a ribbon on it, because as you well know, when I was talking earlier about watching things and all that other stuff, and I told you that just because something's newer doesn't mean it's better. And then you said, well, this is what old people do when they yell at the next generation. I said, hold on. There are some things that are better, and I'm willing to concede all that, but not everything newer is better. And you will admit, just as I do, that something has been lost since we all had to go away from cable, which is the ability to just continually flip channels and instantly see what I want to see when I want to see it. But, oh, no, there's none of that now. You're waiting around for days. Got to flippity-do here, flippity-do there. Go jump on this app. Go to that app. Wait for the little line thing to go. The circle of death. All of it. It's nonsense.
It is nonsense. I agree. That was far superior. There was a time at which Comcast changed its cable box technology, and it went from, you remember this is the old gray remote with the red buttons on the side. It went from instantaneous channel changes to, I got to think for a minute. Okay, now we're good.
Right.
Channel changes.
Mm-hmm.
And once that began, it all went to hell.
Pisses me off, all that thinking that it thinks it's doing. It's not. Hey, come on, let's go load. I'm trying to watch. I used to like back. I could just channel.
No, the last channel or previous.
Yeah, previous or last. They were beautiful. Boop, boop.
And you have it down between the pitches if you had two baseball games going.
You knew so quickly how easy it really was.
Well, that was a 2-0 pitch. I can stay here for an extra pitch because that's whatever. He's going to catch back up in the at-bat. Let's stay here for another one. What do you think? And then you flip it back and you see he's on second base. You go, damn it! I really thought I nailed that one, but that's what I get.
I should also shout out, it's become much more difficult to capture frozen moments within a game, where if you pause the TV and you capture like a hit or somebody in the crowd doing something silly, you know what I mean? The other night, did you watch from start to finish the Florida State USF baseball game?
I might have caught it second inning. So if it happened very early, no.
So one of our former players is now their catcher. It's Lance Triple, who was here at Florida State. Yeah, he's now their catcher. Buddy, foul ball off the boys. Ooh. Stopped action for a good 5 minutes. He's okay, thankfully. Stayed in the game. He's tough. But I tried to do the thing where I freeze it like we did with the Cubs catcher.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had it, and I was trying to hitting my controller on the PS5 X, just trying to, because I went back I could not do it because of that delay with the whole thing. Screwed it up. It squared them up, Tommy. It was just, you see the swing, you see the foul ball, it beelines for the boys, and it's instant. As soon as it hits, you see him go, ooh, and he's going to puke and just rolls to the ground. The umpire's like, he grimaces. You see the look on his face as he looks down, like, oh, he turns. And the whole thing was incredible. And I was going to post it. I never post. I was going to post it. I was like, look at this poor bastard. Especially because he's a former Noel, but buddy.
We got to come up with a hashtag for that. Because that way, if somebody wants to take the time, they can screen grab it, hashtag it, and it can automatically tag to you. So we got to come up with a term
Send it
for
to
that.
me, everybody.
What would the hashtag be?
It's jiggling, baby. I don't know.
That's a long hashtag. Jiggling, baby.
Remember that? What's the game where you press down on the
press your luck?
No, when you press the little silver bubble, it makes the two dice dance. What is that called? There was a
Trouble. Double trouble?
Trouble.
Trouble.
What a perfect
hashtag.
Because there were two dice in there. You'd press it, they go, they bounce all over the place.
Yeah.
That's what we got right there.
So just trouble or double trouble? Just to be clear, what are we doing?
You could do double trouble, but that's a lot to type out.
Right, trouble. Hashtag trouble.
All right, everybody. From here on out, please send me if you're watching a baseball game in which a foul ball takes somebody out. It's got to be the boys. We're referencing the boys. Just hashtag double trouble, screenshot it, send it to me. It will be infinitely amusing for all of us.
That gets an auto retweet. Auto retweet. Don't put anything else in there. Don't try to sneak any other words. But if you do that, it gets an auto retweet.
Have you ever seen the footage? I know we're almost done with the show. Have you ever seen the footage that line drive the umpire takes?
Oh, yeah. We used to play that audio.
Oh, my God. The sound of that.
Oh, he's down in a heap. That was what the announcer said.
The sound of it, though.
Oh, man.
You can hear.
You hear the crack in the back.
Yeah.
Then you hear that.
Oh, he's down in a heap. It's been fun. Good work out of you. Tomorrow, Libations Friday. We'll be here. Be well, everybody. Have a great evening. Until then, peace.